What's good? What's really, really up?
Can't hear me.
I can hear you somewhat. You even sound like you got some.
Uh, me.
She's 18 and legal. She's retarded.
Our forefathers weren't the pilgrims. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock was landed on us.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Pilgrim!
You were saying you were having some mic difficulties, some audio issues. BJJ Daddy, legendary. BJJ Daddy. We are having a little bit of mic issues, but that's all right. You've been having problems with fast food, people. I have too been having problems with fast food people. These people at this McDonald's, and I understand that they're exchange students or whatever the fuck it is, but the inability to understand a single fucking thing that I'm saying, it's gonna piss me off. How you doing, buddy? And then the rudeness from these two fucking lesbian dictators that were in there. Fucking pissed me off. And I wasn't trying to be like a bitch or nothing, you know? I wasn't trying to be, you know, an asshole, as it were. Let me see if Streamlabs and Nightbot is working. You're gonna have to see something fucking fishier than a motherfucking bitch going on with Streamlabs. I have no idea why it ain't been working. I'm gonna be fucking with my phone for 1 second. Let's see why. Cloudbot.
Hello.
Yo, I hear you now. What are you doing?
Not much.
Just chilling, max level chilling, or just like regular level chilling?
Just chilling,
Mm.
chilling in my chilies.
Yeah, he chilling in the
Watching this
chili.
police chase.
Is it on your computer?
Yeah, it's kind of shitty though.
Why don't you just share your screen? 1,827 subscribers. It's like 127 in 1 day. That's crazy. That's crazy. Share your screen.
Yeah, this guy he just escaped. He leaves, stole this like children's hospital bus, drove around for a bunch, and now he just jumped out and ran into Home Depot.
Well,
Hold on.
is there any cause behind it? Or is he just doing it because he had a fucking brass set of balls on him and, you know, didn't give a fuck and was willing to go to Home Depot?
It's not letting me. It's okay. Fuck it.
Not letting you share?
Yeah, it's okay. It's nothing too crazy.
Hmm. You had any issues? What was your problem? I saw you had some problems with fast food people. What was up with that?
Oh, it's just in general.
I was pissed.
What happened?
Yes. Well, it was like some little Thailand girls or something. Usually it's like some other kind of shit that's there, but I shouldn't have asked for them to how should I say? I shouldn't have asked for them at the window asked for a milkshake and she's like yeah blah 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 blah. I said, what the fuck? And I gave her cash and card. I don't want to sound like a loser, but I did cash and card. All right. And then I only got the thing. And I said, well, can I have the cash back? She didn't give it to me. I went to the window. They tried to hand me a Big Mac and shit. And I said, no, I wanted another, like a fucking, some other shit, right?
Yeah.
And then they gave me a fucking, said the one lesbian bitch was like, oh, we don't have milkshakes. I wanted to be like, well, you dumbass fucking bitch. Or what do you mean you don't have milkshakes, bitch? Why the fuck? But I said, well, how come the chick would have put in a hot chocolate? You fucking, I didn't cuss once, but I was getting weird. I was getting a weird vibe. I said, fuck it, it's not even worth, it's really not even worth, getting caught up. But I wanted to start fucking cussing them out. I was pissed. I said, yeah, I guess they couldn't understand anything I was saying on the thing.
Yeah, pretty much. Nowadays, it's just usually like that.
Was that tripping on me, you think? I don't know.
No, I mean it's these managers and it's these
Fucking
people that should be on the mics and shit. They're too lazy, so they put people that aren't qualified to be on the mics and work in the windows. They're fucking lazy.
yes, all these managers here were all fat, disgusting, buzz cut hair, like side of their head shaved dykes.
Yeah.
The worst of the worst.
Our favorite people.
Yes, my favorite kind of fucking pornographic film to watch. Shaved hair dykes. The plumper, the more disgusting, the more I want to vomit, the better.
Plump Dykes 3.
Plump Dykes 3. Don't fuck with me. Call me SCD. That's my rap name. Yet B. Oh yeah, shit. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, looking back, hopefully in the future, we'll see it. Like it seems like it's getting kind of. I cannot get that cloud, the Nightbot, or the Streamlabs shit to work.
Why not?
I have no idea about that. I'm trying to figure it out. Makes it really. I tried typing in a command in there and.
I don't know, man. It's like it takes so much for that stuff to work.
Oh, God, sorry about whatever the fuck that is. Walking out of hotel, I know they got some hole in them. Oh wait, we got a live police chase. It looks like.
See, that's what I was watching at the Home Depot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we at the Home Depot in that bed.
Yo. Oh, there we go. Nightbot has entered the building. Let me see. Yeah, I got a little bit. I catch a little bit of some of that. Oh yeah, it is at the Home Depot.
Yeah. Oh, they got him.
And there
wait.
you have somebody in custody.
Oh shit, that's Shamarke.
Looks like that person may have shedded their yellow jacket. They were wearing a yellow colored jacket when they ran into the store with a
Tramerl
backpack.
Green Johnson.
The backpack colored jacket anymore.
Yeah, you know him. Let me see some.
I believe that's Victory, but now we're continuing on the northbound.
Yeah, they stole the fucking bus. It was lame. Hello? Well.
Dang, sorry about that. I wonder why they stole the bus for. There could be all kinds of ridiculous
this is going to be the Victory off-ramp, I believe.
Just the fucking being the dumbass.
You think it's how he was
Why do any of
raised?
these motherfuckers do anything?
I think it's a lack of. I think it's a lack of. Really, a lack of morals. They didn't have a father person like that to grow up with, or they had maybe a bad father. I don't know. We had bad kind of fathers, so I think it came out all right. I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and go through the news. Let's see what. Oh, Supreme Court rules on Trump immunity case.
And the Biden impeachment process.
Oh, let me see that. You was talking about that. I think wasn't you?
I mean, I just see this shit happening. I don't know too much about any of this stuff. I just know this is just insane what's going on. Well, someone lit fireworks at the House hearing.
The future of your business.
That'd be cool if that's like actually what happened.
With Wix,
you
get
it's
advanced
like,
AI capabilities.
I wonder what it actually
For more
means.
customization.
Well,
more
let's see what
time,
CBC thinks was the moment that
Tonight, a fiery inflection point in the impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden.
Excuse me,
sir.
That I have cooperated.
I wonder why it's not playing no damn fucking sound.
House Republicans holding a hearing designed to feature Hunter.
Can you hear this?
Who had asked
shit?
to give public testimony, but declined to appear. Instead, the committee heard from a pair of former Hunter Biden business associates who testified despite President Biden's denials he was involved in his son's businesses.
He was an active, aware enabler who met with business associates such as myself to further the business.
They say Joe Biden participated in person and on speakerphone in meetings and dinners with Hunter's foreign business partners. Hunter's former business associate Jason Galanis testifying from prison.
The vice president said hello, some pleasant things, and I hope you had safe travels, and then said, well, okay, you begin with my
pause it if you're going to talk.
But Democrats fired.
I can't hear anything that this shit's saying.
I can hear it perfectly clear. It's a lot of shit.
Yeah, this, so when did the fireworks go off?
No fireworks. It's just talking about like their opinions and shit that was said. Like there was probably an argument.
You ever seen any of those arguments like in Taiwan where the Taiwan parliament was in fist fights?
Oh yeah, in the courts and shit, and they're like fucking, there'll be brawls. I was actually watching this sumo competition earlier. I thought it was pretty cool.
Now, what do you think I can't hear this shit for?
I don't know.
Chat, we got 2 people in chat. Can y'all hear this shit or what?
Oh, well, right now it's muted.
Oh, is it?
A wide and
now we can hear it.
The question is, could it be that Democrats now
all I hear in your background is like something else.
9 minutes.
What do you hear? Like a little
I hear
dude?
music.
He was speaking aspirationally about.
I hear music in your background.
But this is how it came out.
Shit, this play because I got this Legend of Mana. I got Legend of Mana. Is it loud?
Eligible for what I've been able to do with the.
Well, I feel like if you're doing a live stream, you should probably just have like your mic at your face. Do you have a mic or is it on your camera?
My mic is on my camera.
But it was what he said.
It definitely needs to be. You need to get you one of these from Walmart.
I know you said you had the good deal on it, didn't you?
I mean, it's just a starter mic for sure.
That's obvious to everyone. I'm not going to debate that point.
And you'll hear from both Republicans
and Democrats. I know it's better. It's a good thing to start somewhere. Right?
I love how people are like, both Republicans and Democrats are in shambles, and Tennessee is scared of what Trump delivered at the thing, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up, fucking losers.
Yeah, fucking a bunch of nerds not speaking for the rest of us.
Like, go dye your fucking hair and paint your goddamn fingernails.
And your toenails too, dude.
Dude, that video you showed me, that was fucking insane.
Which one?
The one of that kid fucking making that video about your fucking videos.
Yeah, that little nerd. Yeah, I
Not
don't think
nerd.
he's a cool dude. He's a gangster. That kid is more loyal of a sub.
Like, he made a whole ass fucking green screen short.
Come on now.
That's cool.
Thank you, buddy.
That's spreading your name, and even though he's too young to be listening to what we say.
Listen to the content that we talk about exactly.
But, you know.
He's still a nerd right now at this point, but he will change as he gets older, I assume.
He seems like he has decent parents and knows. Who's this running? Some fucking corpse running down this fucking.
He had a little stretch. We're at 1,830 subscribers as of this moment, buddy.
That's good.
Let me see. Let's see what we got going on here.
You need to do some more vertical streams, like a cooking stream.
That's what I'm thinking. Last time I tried a couple of verticals, it wasn't like the last one, so I think it depends on the time.
You need to get a camera, like I've been saying for the past 3 fucking years, with a damn gimbal and all kinds of shit, and start set it up in your kitchen, like start making videos like that with like one of those badass Sony cameras.
That cooking video went down good. Yeah, badass Sony camera.
You get a pawn shop for a decent price.
Disconnected straight to the Wi-Fi, huh? Type of shit.
I'm not sure exactly how to do it. I'm not sure how to live stream from your camera like that.
Did you see this video that I put out recently?
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen it.
It's got like 70,000 views on it. All right. And it's now got close to 3K likes, 272 comments. This guy's comment is 300.
Which one is it?
It's called Gender Reveal.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
You seen this
60K views.
It's not the father's fault. It's society's fault.
All these people arguing in here. But yeah, it's crazy to, all these comments, all these little arguing, all this shit, like it adds to like the algorithm and makes people see more.
Yeah, it's so funny, these just random people. He just wanted a son. I can't stop crying. Oh, I feel so bad for that dad. Crying.
Yeah.
It's not society's fault. It's what the child wanted.
I know what a fucking dumbass
I get that it's heartbreaking for that father, but sometimes you have to accept what another person wants.
You can already know what kind of a fucking pussy that was.
Even then, you can already.
Why are y'all mad at someone for about being trans? And the guy said he wanted a son.
Oh man, the pain in his eyes. Society now is ruined. I pray every day for this world.
Is this the one you just read? So you're feeling bad for a dad that doesn't support his child. Yeah, I get he's trying to pretend he's supportive, but there's a difference between that and actually trying to be supportive. He should be proud of his child. He doesn't need anyone to feel bad for him. Quote unquote society's fault. The TF, the fuck does that even mean? Since when does being trans something to feel bad or guilty for? You disgust me.
For the people who don't get it, because it's it's the women that came out of that box. It is the woman that came out of that box. It's their daughter.
I know so many people don't get this shit.
But was originally born a male, now it's trans. That's why they did a gender reveal. They said he's now a girl.
Fucking explain.
Wow. What fucking losers. Oh, say
Someone said, let me see. I think if the daughter didn't make a whole gender reveal party, the dad wouldn't care as much. Is that the one you just read, or is it different? Okay. Just make a giant party, and from the dad's look, the mom probably said, "Do you not want a party because you don't support her?" or something like that. So the dad felt like he had to have a big party. That's what I was already thinking. I was thinking that's like, yeah, that's just most likely the fucking mom that fucking California liberal mom fucking telling her son cut his dick off. And the sad dad is just sad dad.
This comment says, me, a trans / bi / non-binary person. We are in the 80s. Like, what the fuck is this comment?
Read that comment thread. Read through that comment thread, dude. That shit. There's so many fucking comments in this shit.
What the fuck?
Oh my
That's funny. You go through and like every one of these.
Dude, look at some of these I ain't seen. They're just constantly going on there. This video is getting like 2,000 or 3,000 views for 30 fucking minutes. A lot of these people are retarded. Like this guy.
The Drake one, I'm reading some of the Drake ones, and like these people are so stupid.
Oh yeah.
Like, so who the fuck are these people commenting on this shit?
Bunch of pussy ass dumbass motherfuckers. This guy, he said I need to do, and I said you can watch some other shit.
Man, that documentary that you posted, I wish like we could like have more people watch that.
I know, dude. I swear, Hutch shared it out, dude. I sent it to a couple of people and shit, and I'm waiting to see what they can do and what they think. I know, dude.
Go ahead and suck Lil Wayne little dick.
Go for it. I got raped when I was 11. I loved it.
I loved it.
I loved it.
I never get the word, man. I had my daughter at 15. Shit.
Yeah, I had Nene at 15.
What a fucking god! Oh my god! What a horrible thing. That's so fucked up.
It's like we want to look at it in a comedic way and laugh at it, kind of.
We fuck with brothers too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the PG version of what he said.
Yeah.
The motherfucker. Yeah. I think I want to see it. There was another little short rap thing I wanted to show you. I thought you might. It's not the whole thing, but this shit is kind of funny. I see. I couldn't think of anything else to call it but the real love and hip hop.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
That's got to be probably, I think, in my opinion, the best documentary I've ever watched in my whole fucking life.
And
besides a couple of World War II ones.
Who made this documentary?
I have no idea. It's been made and put out and remade again, so and like reshared so many times. It's probably lost to. That shit is lost to time. Oh god! So you heard about this shit with Dr. Disrespect, right?
Yeah, man, it's really fucked
Is
up.
it fucked?
I hate it. I hate hearing it.
Is it fucked? He was messaging? So that he's messaging an underage person on Twitch. Is that what the?
Well, yeah, this girl, she's 17, and I don't know how the messages started, but I'm sure it was like some Instagram shit. And I guess I just don't understand, like, in what situation does a girl be like, hey, I'm underage, is that okay? Like, they never say that unless it's like a fake person. These bitches do not care nowadays, especially one that just fished in a millionaire. Like, it's just weird to me how, like, he admitted to all this shit and whatnot. It's like very weird. Like, I guess she told him she was underage, and he just kept messaging her, and he said some of the messages got inappropriate or something. I'm not 100%
I
sure.
read that he had admitted to it.
Yeah, he admitted to it, and I read through it and stuff, and man, it's just really sad that that happened. That was back in 2017, whenever he cheated on his wife and shit.
Yeah, so he's probably, he got a little rich. Maybe he went to some of
Well, he was rich back then. Like, he was a millionaire already because he had a multi-million-dollar Twitch deal. And, like, he was going to all the fucking festivals. He was hosting all these fucking video game awards. He was winning. Man, I love that dude. Like, he's been my favorite streamer for shit, man, since 2010. He's been around for so long.
Soul to the darkness.
No, I just feel like he just had that drinking problem, and and that's what did it.
He got drunk. He started getting a little horny and saying some bad shit.
Yeah, talking to anybody and everybody. You got to imagine how many DMs he gets a day.
Yeah.
And then he just one day decided to, message this person, and
it just ruined his life.
But what happened was somebody from Twitch got fired, and they went around telling everybody why Dr. Disrespect got banned, and that was why, because he got caught talking to underage. But why at that time did nobody know about it? Why did they just like hide that information? It's like, what?
Because they, I think, Dr. Disrespect, he's like pro-Trump, right? Or am I wrong?
He's against, politics pretty much. He lives in California. He's one of those, but it doesn't matter with all that. Yeah.
What? He's like a straight white man that likes pussy, and that's why they want to go against him, and that's why they put this girl. That's why they put this chick in her DMs. Twitch didn't like him anyway, because he's a straight white man that likes pussy and can get it.
But that's crazy, like, because I was watching him live whenever he got the text message from his video game company that dropped him pretty much, and then as he got this message, that's whenever he like pretty much ended his stream and said he was pretty much done streaming, and that it's just time to ride off in the sunset or whatever. And he said he's just exhausted and tired of social media, and I guess that was his that was his last stream. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then the next day he released that long thing.
Oh, we're gonna have to watch that. Was it a video or is it just it was a tweet?
It was just a tweet.
You remember this?
I forget. What really sucks though is like people call him a pedophile and shit. I mean, that's like a huge difference.
Yeah, but a pedophile is somebody that is now it is wrong and fucked up for like a 40-year-old man to be fucking.
Oh yeah, talking to anybody under 18, yeah. But for people to be calling him and like comparing him to like pedophiles and shit,
kind of motherfucker type of shit.
Yeah,
that's not no like like a little weird motherfucker with part in hairline and shit like that. Fucking glasses, but that's what they're saying. I think that they're saying that. I don't have no fucking clue why.
Yeah, it's just fucked up. They're just other kids, just immature, and just other streamers are making fun, but like all dog's friends and all these other big streamers were like, it fucked them up in the head. This fucked up a lot of people because who would have known, man? I mean, the doc, man, he did what he did, and it's so horrible. I hate that happened.
No. Who's gonna be some people that are on his side that are his homies? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, nobody can really be on his side because of what he did. Nobody can support him, so he's just not going to be heard from for a long time.
That's like, but what about all those fucking bass nectar fucking retards?
Yeah, bass nectar, he's still gone. He's been gone since
Really? I heard that he was
2019, 2020. As far as I know.
What was he playing? He was playing damn Elden Ring or something, huh?
Who?
I heard this is the last moments of his final
Oh,
stream.
yeah, this is whenever he got the text message right here. He's reading it right now.
Let's see. Let's see what it is. I ain't seen this yet.
And the Elden Ring music goes like perfect with this fucking situation too. I was like, oh shit. That's Midnight Society. That is his the video game company he was part of, and he made a video game under them, and they dropped him pretty much. His name, Dr. Disrespect's name is Guy Beam, co-founder Guy Beam, aka Dr. Disrespect. That's his real name.
So he basically was like the shit that he got this shit going, you know?
Yeah, co-founder.
No, it's all done. It's all for naught.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He should have been able to control himself better though in that situation.
Yeah. Well, alcoholics and drug addicts will do fucked up shit.
Yeah, straight up.
And that was it. The last gameplay of Dr. Disrespect. Realizing his career may have just ended. Oh, fuck. No, he's still a billionaire.
I don't want to get this game.
I know, dude. This game is hard, though.
Waves, Mana. Welcome back. Welcome to the Champions Club. Jesse, appreciate the $50 donation. Only streamer I've ever donated to. Thank you for the 50. Cameron Hartley, thank you for the 5. How come you have a cupcake but not me? Thank you for the 5. How we feeling, Doc? Says Roy. I'll be honest, I'm feeling a little fatigued. Feeling a little fatigued. We came in here, champs. We came in here. High energy. High energy. But I'm telling you, man, I'm just feeling fatigued. Right?
Oh.
Feeling a little burnt
out. Somebody said you and Drake would get along well.
Oh, that's fucked.
I know.
Appreciate you guys showing up. I appreciate you guys showing up. But I am serious when I say I'm feeling a little fatigued. You know?
What up, Bacon?
When shit like this happens over the weekend, it just kind of... It's like, how many times can I... it's just, I don't... Like, I'm actually tired of being on social media. And I've expressed that over the years, champs. I just, I've always kind of hinted like it'd be nice to get off and just completely separate, right? Go live in Costa Rica or something. I don't know. But I'm just feeling burnt out, I think. You know, I came into this with when did we start streaming, champs? 2015, 16. Been doing this since 2009. You know,
I would love to see the text messages, dude.
I know.
Different scene back then, having a good time, playing the games that were fun to interact with and create content with, and over the years, it's just gotten, I don't know, like it's been drained out of me. It's being drained out of me. It's being drained out of my family and I. And I just feel like, you know, I had the mindset of let's just see what happens today. How are we feeling? And I'll tell you, I just, I don't know. I'm just feeling burnt out.
That's the post he posted right there.
Maybe it's time to start
Let me read it real quick. Hello, I'd like to make a quick statement. Let's cut the fucking bullshit. As you know, there's no filter on me. I've always been real up front and real with you guys. If anything, I can be friend now, and I will be willing to accept responsibility. First and foremost, I do want to apologize to everyone in my community, as well, those close to me, my team, and everyone at Midnight Society Game Studio. A lot of people have been left in the dark about what happened yesterday with Midnight Society and I, and we made the painful decision collectively to have me step down. Were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. Were there real intentions behind those messages? The answer is absolutely not. These are casual, mutual conversations. Yeah, it is fucked up. He's having these little weird conversations, you know, in the privacy of his little Twitch whispers. But damn.
But yeah, it's fucked up, man. I hate it.
His net worth is $6 million.
Yeah, that's probably not even fucking close to how much money he has. Probably way more.
He has the rest of it put up in assets and shit like that.
Oh yeah, this dude's set for life. He should have quit a long time ago, man.
Yeah, not before he got let the devil get into him, you know.
Yeah, he could have quit back then.
Yeah, they had yeah, that just the look. If he wasn't wearing his sunglasses, you'd be able to tell that he was kind of like tripping.
A desire to explore different realms, if you will.
And we are cooking on here, you know, slow level
first and
cooking,
foremost,
but
though,
cooking nonetheless.
You know, I did have
Can't hear you when this was playing.
Sort of a planned vacation coming up.
You're very far. You gotta understand, you ain't got no microphone, so you just you're very muffled.
Today, starting now.
I said we ain't got no damn. I forgot what I said. Squirrel.
You know,
I need to get a microphone. I'm going to try to this weekend.
Let's take a step back. I mean, it is what it is. People get fatigued, right, champs? And to be honest, I don't know how long. You know, I know for my vacacion, how long my vacation is, but you know, maybe I extend that. We'll see. We'll see. But I do appreciate you guys, champs. Right? And look out for the socials. I'll keep you updated when we'll be back. But I definitely need to take a break from everything.
But at the end of his tweet, he says, you know, he's gonna end up coming back, and
keep playing, Doc. We don't care. The fuck? Okay.
Yeah, he just ends talk some more, and then he ends up ending it.
And we'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah. Can't believe it. God damn it. Why him, man? Why not some of these fucking bitches? Like, why not some of these fucking pussy ass fucking YouTubers?
Yeah, exactly. Like, who's a YouTuber that you hate?
Fuck. I don't like Moist Critical.
You
I don't like Nikocado Avocado. Who else? The Patty Mayo, the fake bounty hunter.
The only thing better than wearing a well-made
Oh
gun
god, yeah, I hate him. I'd say he's the fucking biggest dumbass fucking retard faggot of all.
I don't know. I used to think his shit was real, and I used to like it.
Yes, and that's what made me pissed.
Demonstrated to me that you're nothing but an honest, with the highest integrity individual, and I was begging for him to go on CNN and tell the world in October 2020.
They might as well be speaking gibberish or Swahili. I'll be right back.
All right, me too. This that Biden impeachment.
That the Democrats are so focused on, to hire forensics experts and go through all of the factual information I had. So the fact that he did not even address me and then scurried out of here is disgusting to me.
All right.
Sorry, Mr. Donalds. I'll answer your question now.
All right, so we're gonna have to come off of that because now we're at 3 minutes 30 seconds. Mr. Chairman, for the record, I want to submit into the record 2 different WhatsApp text messages. One, July 31, between Hunter Biden and Chairman and Mr. Zhao of CEFC, which stipulates that Hunter Biden wants to be able to move on from and get the contract resolved, get the deal resolved, and that Mr. Zhao responds and says, yes, the CEFC is willing to cooperate with the family. On August 31, there's another exchange, this time August 3rd, 2017, between Hunter Biden and Mr. Ganwei Dong. And in this message, they're talking about the stipulations of the arrangement between the Biden family and CEFC. I want to submit both WhatsApp text messages for the record, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection to order.
Okay, now to the money flow, because this is where the rubber meets the road. On August 3rd, they actually stipulate through WhatsApp text messages the exact stipulations of the deal. On August 4th, $100,000 is wired into Owasco PC from CEFC infrastructure. Mr. Chairman, I want to submit for the record a portion of the bank statement for the time period August 3rd of 2017 to August 31, 2017, stipulating $100,000 going from CEFC into the bank account of Hunter Biden through Owasco PC.
Without objection to ordered.
On August 8th, 4 days later, $5 million is then transferred from the Northern International Capital account.
Is this live?
$5 million to Hudson West III. Hudson West III is a bank account controlled by Hunter Biden and Mr. Gon Wang, aka Kevin Dong, who was a CEFC associate. That money comes from the Northern International Capital bank account that is tied to the CCP. Mr. Chairman, I want to submit for the record the bank statement demonstrating that transfer.
Without objection to ordered.
Okay, moving on. On August 8th, the same time period, there is a wire transfer of $400,000 to Owasco PC from the Hudson West III bank account. That $400,000, Mr. Chairman, I have the transfer records in the bank account August time period. I want to submit that for the record.
Without objection to ordered.
Now, here's where the fun stuff comes in, everybody, and I got a minute to do it, so we're going to get this done. On August 14th, there is $150,000 that is transferred from Owasco PC, which is controlled by Hunter Biden, to Lion Hall Group, which is controlled by James Biden. I have the records here, Mr. Chairman, of the $150,000 that has gone to Lion Hall Group from Owasco PC. I want to submit that for the record.
Without objection to ordered.
On August 28th, and I believe we have a screenshot for everybody in the room. On August 28th, Mr. Chairman, we have the withdrawal ticket from Lion Hall Group that is signed by Sarah Biden, who is the wife of Jim Biden, for $50,000 to withdraw from Lion Hall Group. I want to submit that withdrawal receipt for the record.
Without objection to ordered.
On September 3rd, On August 28th, actually, Mr. Chairman, we have the deposit reference into Sarah Jones Biden's account on the same day she withdrew it from Lion Hall. I want to submit that.
Without objection to order.
Last document. On September 3rd, 2007, from Sarah Biden's own personal account, there is a check that is written to Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., the President of the United States today.
These crooked pieces of goddamn shit.
A loan repayment, by the way, that Joe Biden's own personal accountant, Mr. Eric Schwerin, has no record for. I want to submit that for the record, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection to order.
To the members of the committee, it is clear that the source of this money came from CEFC, and that CEFC is a company that is directly linked to the CCP and actually the chairman of the CCP, the chairman of the Chinese Communist Party, Chairman Xi Jinping. With that, I yield.
Very good.
Mr. Chairman, I've got a UC request. That's okay.
Go ahead.
First, White House for sale, the staff report, the minority side, which details the CEFC's business interactions with Donald Trump. They own a $5.5 million unit in Trump World Tower and others. And then the Department of Justice press release announcing the sentencing of Jason Galanis in federal court to a term of 189 months in prison, ordering him to pay restitution of more than $80 million for 3 criminal fraud conspiracies against a Native American tribe, pension funds, and other investors.
Without objection to order. Chair now recognizes Mr. Mafume for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'm sitting here and imagining what I would be thinking if I were not here, but rather somewhere around the country watching the Congress of the United States, and in this case, this committee, for 15 months, hold these hearings on Hunter Biden and come up with not one impeachable offense in all that time. 15 months. Over 10,000 documents and more, as you can see today as a result of that. This is a do-nothing Congress. And we should be doing the jobs that we were sent here to do, which is not to have investigation hearing after investigation hearing over and over and over again, and then run to our favorite TV outlet to give interviews afterwards. We were sent here to get a job done. Taxpayers are looking at all of us. Meanwhile, Americans, black, white, Asian, Latino, Native American, and their families are wondering what the hell is going on. Is this another investigation hearing in this 15 months that has yielded nothing at all? It's the do-nothing Congress. You thought Harry Truman said it in 1948. Anybody can say it today. Look at what we've done in 15 months. Virtually nothing. Nothing at all. Senior citizens sit in their homes and watch C-SPAN or some other outlet carry this. Some of them sitting in nursing homes, all of them worried about losing their Social Security. They're on fixed incomes, and they expect the Congress to use its time and its energy to deal with things that affect them directly. Students are defaulting on loans to colleges all over the country, and no one wants to talk about that. Healthcare is inadequate in most places in this country. And diseases are ravaging our communities, and people assume that at some point the Congress will deal with.
Man, we can't forget about the Hillary or the Clintons either. Just because the Bidens are now the new fucking Clintons, they're all still shitbags. And it's funny. It's always like a Democratic family. That's always the bad ones. But this is some good shit right now that's playing right here. This is crazy. Like, catching this live is actually cool. There's going to be a bunch of fucking TikTok videos about this shit.
Guaranteed, dude. Because, like, if he did get impeached, dude, that would be insane, dude. And this is, like, supposed to be the final level of it. Because him and his son were involved in some kind of money laundering.
Fuck yeah, while you were out, these people, they were showing all these checks from them, fucking all the proof. It's right here. And this guy right here is like, why did this shit take 15 months?
Yeah, no, look at his face.
Yeah.
This shit don't make no sense.
Hurting, looking for real help. Can't deal with immigration because Donald Trump calls up and kills the immigration. And yet people say that's the major issue, is it? I haven't seen the sort of attention that we thought we were putting to that or anything else. And so this particular hearing will probably be followed by another hearing and another hearing and another hearing until this Congress expires in January of next year. And we haven't done a damn thing to move the ball forward, except make accusations. Life is too short. Now, maybe some of you have a guarantee to be around forever, but I don't. I came to this body first in
I haven't done a damn thing.
This week only, to celebrate our freedom.
God damn it. What the fuck was he saying?
Shit out of me.
And now Joe Biden, this Congress is not doing anything. It's not like the previous Congresses, trust me. That's why people have such a low esteem of those of us who say, well, I'm Congressman so-and-so. People on the street don't buy that. They don't see the action. So I'm done. I know I've exhausted my time. Mr. Parnas, a couple of quick questions, and I'll let you go. Is it your understanding that Rudy Giuliani worked for an individual identified by the Trump administration as a Russian agent?
Yes.
Do you know what these Russian line actors were trying to do? Quickly.
Push a conspiracy theory about the Bidens.
Did you know that? Did you warn Rudy Giuliani?
Yes, I did.
And what was his response, simply?
He told me that he agreed with me, but then proceeded to work with these people behind my back.
And these people have been identified as Russian agents.
Yes, sir.
And we've got a meeting here of Mr. Giuliani with one of those. I'm disgusted, as most people are, about this process. And the only way we get to a point where we get things done is that we learn to talk to one another across the aisle without having another conspiracy theory after another one after another one. You don't buy trust that way. You buy contempt. I yield back.
Chair recognizes Lisa McClain for 5 minutes.
They're both getting crazy photos.
I think most Americans are taught at a very young age that you are who you surround yourself with. I think keep that in a premise. As I sat here and listened to everyone talk about how Hunter Biden is just this golden boy. I mean, are we really supposed to believe that Hunter Biden is the golden boy?
There's videos of this fucking queer smoking crack with whores and hookers.
Are felons convicted of fraud, yet he is the golden child. I want to talk about examples of Biden's influence peddling.
This is fucking retarded. Like there's videos of Trump's kids graduating. People love his kids. They do interviews. They tell everybody knows. And these people like the Bidens that you speak of is like, who are they? Like, I don't fucking know any of these people.
The U.S. government. Hunter Biden sells influence to the U.S. government.
He's been sitting in on the
meeting. This shit. Pause this shit. Are they even there? Are they just talking about these motherfuckers?
They're just talking about them.
So they're not even there.
No.
What the fuck's the point of this shit?
Now Hunter Biden is like there with his father being one of his top and one of his aides now. Let me show
Will
you
Smith's
this
first movie, 6 Degrees of Separation. Fucking some dude in his ass.
Then we take out in New York. I'm leaving the scene. I'm peeping the scene. Too many hearts. Hold out a scheme and turn on the demons. We make it run in the office. I'm really cool.
Fuck is this?
There's a Hunter Biden.
Oh, Hunter. Biden smoking that crack, popping them pills with that dick in his hand. Wait 1 second. Those are underage kids.
No, they're not. No, supposedly. There you go. Hunter Biden. You know, and I believe that is plenty damn good reasons fucking not allow this motherfucker to be influencing our president.
Rob Walker and James Gillier to do whatever was necessary to impact his case in Romania.
Well, how do you know that?
Because Gabriel Povich told me that.
From his mouth?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so there's another dot that we can connect. Would that be a conspiracy theory?
That's not a conspiracy theory.
Okay, thank you.
I would encourage you to interview Gabriel Povich.
Thank you. Lastly, after claiming he wanted a public hearing, Hunter Biden decided to skip today. Why do you think he skipped the hearing today?
Is that a rhetorical or serious? Well, I don't think he wanted to sit next to me because obviously I've emphatically stated he perjured himself in his transcribed interview with the committee, as did his uncle, Jim Biden. And for every fact he claims or wants to say I was high on drugs or obfuscate, I can show a document, a text message, a recording that is confirmed that he's lying.
Well, let's not let the facts get in the way of a good story, right? Here are the facts.
Highly disappointing that he's not here, though.
I would agree. I would agree. Here are the facts. Hunter Biden was engaged by a foreign principal, Gabriel Popovich. It is well known that Hunter Biden met with the ambassador to Romania, Hans Klem, in November of 2015. Hunter Biden was not registered under FARA. He stopped getting paid as soon as his father leaves office until you got Popovich to send Hunter Biden one more payment. Seriously, what services was Hunter Biden providing to the Romanian oligarchs for millions of dollars? We've yet to hear it. As far as the committee knows, Hunter Biden was never registered under the Foreign Agents Registration Act. If the Department of Justice applied the same standards it did in the Paul Manafort case, Hunter would be in more trouble than he is already in. Mr. Chairman, there are real FARA issues here that we need to continue to look at. And with that, I thank you for being here, and I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good job. Chair now recognizes Ms. Ocasio-Cortez from New York.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Bobulinski, I heard your opening statement. It's submitted to the record, part of our proceedings. I have a quick question. Simple. Is it your testimony today that you personally witnessed President Joe Biden commit a crime?
I believe the fact that he was sitting with me while I was putting together a
Did
business
you
deal,
witness the president commit a crime? Is it your testimony today?
Yes.
And what crime have you witnessed?
How much time do I have to go through it?
It is simple. You name the crime.
Uh,
Did you watch him steal something?
Corruption statutes, RICO and conspiracy.
What is it?
FARA.
What is the crime, sir?
You
Specifically.
You asked me to answer the question. I answered the question.
No.
RICO, you're obviously not familiar with. Corruption
Excuse me,
statutes,
sir. Excuse me,
FARA.
sir. Excuse me, sir. RICO is not a crime. It is a category. What is
It's
the
a category of crimes that you're then charged
You
under
have charges.
A long 100.
You
list
have
of statutes.
charges. Sir,
You want
please
me to name the exact statute
Sir,
under RICO?
yes.
Well, it's funny. In this committee room, everyone's not here. There's over 18
All right, sir. I reclaim my
lawyers
time.
that
I
went to
reclaim
law
my
school.
time. I
I'll leave
reclaim
it
my
up to
time.
you guys
Okay,
to
thank
define
you,
the
sir. I
statute
reclaim my
under
time.
RICO.
Clearly, what we are seeing here today is a continuation of the 15-month saga of the Republican majority lost in the desert. Impeachment 101. The majority party or whomever is raising impeachment must accuse the president of a high crime, a specific high crime or misdemeanor. I would like to submit to the record HRES 918, the House resolution to open this impeachment inquiry.
Without objection to order.
This resolution does not outline a high crime or misdemeanor. It's not here. Now, when we compare the chairman's opening from his previous opening, he's talking about Ukraine and Burisma and all of this. This entire inquiry is based on a blockbuster piece of information that was in a classified SCIF room. And inside that room was a document alleging President Biden directly of a $10 million bribery scheme, a $10 million bribery scheme, extremely serious. What happened? What happened a month ago, Mr. Chairman? That document, the FBI arrested the person who offered those allegations for falsifying his testimony to the FBI. This entire impeachment inquiry is based on an actual provable individual who has lied. Now, responsible leadership would withdraw an inquiry based on that. Withdraw it. Instead, what we are seeing is that this committee was warned about the falsehoods of these allegations long before that, warned by Trump's Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and yet they proceeded anyway. The chairman proceeded anyway. This committee was warned by Rudy Giuliani associate right here, Lev Parnas, after that document about the falsehoods of this. Then held hearings where your own expert witnesses said that there was no grounds for impeachment, and you proceeded anyway. And finally, as if none of this was enough, the FBI arrested the individual who was the source of the entire, to quote the chairman, heart of the matter, to launch this impeachment inquiry, and proceeded anyway. At this point, the story is not the fact that the basis of this impeachment inquiry is wrong. The story is why it's proceeding anyway. Why is this committee proceeding based on false charges? And by the way, no charges. I have yet to hear in the chairman's opening the allegation that they are specifically charging the president of the United States with. I'm hearing about Biden family. I'm hearing about this and that. I am not hearing the specific allegation by this committee. What is it? It's not here. And that is the problem. The story is when this committee knew that they were working with falsified evidence. That's the story. And with that, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Chair now recognizes Ms. Mace from South Carolina for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On March 1st, 2024, Joe Biden stated he did not interact with Hunter or Jim Biden business associates. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to enter into a record New York Post article. Biden insists he did not interact with his
Without objection to order.
We're going to go fast here. I have strictly yes or no questions. On that note, the New York Post article, Joe Biden also said, read the record of every single witness. So I did. I first read Devin Archer's deposition, and he interacted with Joe Biden. Then I read the transcripts of Wab Walker, Eric Schwerin, George Burgess, Kevin Morris, Tony Bobulinski, and Jason Galanis. And every single one of them interacted with Joe Biden. And that's just the people we interviewed. Mr. Galanis, my first questions are for you. Did Hunter Biden call Joe Biden with Elaine Badarina on the line on May 4th, 2014, yes or no?
Yes.
In that call, did Hunter Biden state on this call with Joe Biden that everything is good and we're moving forward?
Yes, he did.
Okay, on the same call, did Joe Biden in the call was saying, okay, then you be good to my boy?
Yes, he said that as well.
Okay, did Badarina agree to put $20 million into one of Hunter Biden's business projects days later after this phone call?
Yes.
Okay, did Hunter Biden ever take a call from Joe Biden while at the Peninsula Bar in New York?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Did Hunter Biden ever take a call from Joe Biden while at the Peninsula Bar in New York?
Yes, he did.
During this call, did Hunter Biden update Joe Biden on progress in landing a business partnership with Harvest Fund Management?
Yes.
Okay. Was Harvest a $300 billion Chinese financial services company closely tied to the Chinese Communist Party?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Is Hunter Biden involved with Harvest?
Hunter Biden is involved in Harvest in two ways, through BHR, which is a fund.
Yes or no? Was Hunter
Biden
Biden involved with Harvest? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. As part of the
extensive
deal,
emails to that effect.
as
also.
part of the deal, did Hunter Biden want the company to reserve a board seat for Joe Biden?
Yes.
Okay. Did Henry Zhao, a Chinese businessman, want assurances Joe Biden would join the board? Yes or no?
Yes, he did.
Okay, did
He's
Hunter
expressed
Biden?
that in emails as well.
Okay, thank you.
And
Did Hunter Biden draft an email stating, please also remind Henry Zhao of our conversation about a board seat for a certain relation of mine. Devin and I golfed with that relation earlier this week, and we discussed this very idea again. And as always, he remains very, very keen on the opportunity. Here is a photo of Joe Biden and Devin Archer and Hunter Biden golfing days before the alleged email draft. Do you believe a certain relation of mine refers to Joe Biden?
I don't think there's any question. It was based on first-hand conversations with Devin Archer, who was in that picture and at that golf meeting.
Did you ever meet with Devin Archer where Hunter took calls from his father?
Yes.
Okay, during one of these phone calls, and Hunter Biden tell Joe Biden that he and Henry Zhao needed help getting, quote, getting across the finish line.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Mr. Bobolinsky, do you recall receiving an email that floated the possibility of giving 10% ownership of Sinohawk to Joe Biden through Hunter Biden?
Yes.
Okay, my last questions are for both of you very quickly. Mr. Bobolinsky and Mr. Galanis, you both stated you were told not to use Joe Biden's name in communications, correct, Mr. Bobolinsky?
Correct.
Mr. Galanis?
Yes.
Okay. Did Joe Biden participate in phone conversations and meetings with Hunter Biden, his business associates, and foreign interests, yes or no? Mr. Bobolinsky?
He clearly did. He met
Okay,
me
Mr. Galanis, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. In Hunter Biden's deposition, he said he did not involve his father in his business. Did Hunter Biden lie under oath, yes or no? Mr. Bobolinsky?
Yes.
Mr. Galanis?
If that's what he said, yes, that would be
Okay.
untrue.
Is Joe Biden lying when he says he did not interact with Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, their business partners or forward interests? Yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Galanis?
Yes.
All right. In a debate on October 22nd, 2020, Joe Biden denied Hunter Biden made money from China. Then Hunter Biden, his business associates, and foreign interests include money from Chinese businesses, business partners, and/or interests. Yes or no? Mr. Bobolinsky?
I'm sorry. Did the
Hunter
Biden family make
receive
money
from Chinese
Correct,
business
yes.
interests? Mr. Galanis? Did Hunter Biden
Money
receive
from-
money from Chinese business interests? Yes or no?
Yes, he was.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
he had economic interest, and yes.
All right. Joe
Yes,
Biden
we
has
promise.
repeatedly claimed that he was not involved in Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, or any other Biden family business deals. Today, our witnesses have proved otherwise. Today, we've established Joe Biden lied about interacting with Hunter Biden's business associates. It is my belief Joe Biden is the closer for Hunter Biden, Jim Biden, and their business associates and foreign interests. Good luck to the left proving otherwise. Thank you, and I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Chair now recognizes Ms. Porter from California.
The title of this hearing is Influence Peddling, Examining Joe Biden's Abuse of Public Office. Look, the impeachment inquiry is dead. If it was on life support, my colleague Ocasio-Cortez just killed it. There is no allegation of a specific crime. President Biden didn't do anything wrong. There's zero evidence of that. And still, both Democrats and Republicans and the media treat these hearings like the Super Bowl. But no one ever wins, and Americans always lose. So I've got a fresh direction for this hearing. All we have to do is cross off the part after the colon. There, just influence peddling. We should have a policy discussion about how to stop government officials from using their positions to get money or favors. Now, that is a real hearing, one that nearly every American, regardless of party, wants us to hold. We could start by talking about how senior executive branch officials can leave public service, wait just 1 year, and then legally become lobbyists for big corporations, scoring their new employers profitable government contracts and favorable regulations. They can even be paid by the big corporations during that short 1 year while they are waiting to become lobbyists as a down payment for their future ability to peddle influence. That's wrong. For the panel of witnesses, by show of hands, as Americans, would our witnesses support extending this 1 year waiting period to at least 2 years?
No, I would.
Okay, so there we go. Republicans, Democrats, even convicted criminals, everybody supports that we should do more to stop influence peddling. This is the kind of good government reform that Americans of all political stripes support. And I should know, in 2022, I passed that exact reform as an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act with a bipartisan majority vote. What happened to that amendment? Why didn't it become law? The answer is simple. Nearly 500 former members of Congress worked for lobbying firms. And too many people around here want to follow in their footsteps, and so don't want to make it harder for government officials to become lobbyists. Ultimately, Democratic leadership under then Speaker Nancy Pelosi let the amendment get stripped out of the final bill. When I offered up the amendment again during this Congress, Republican leadership under then Speaker Kevin McCarthy never even put the amendment up for a vote. Both parties have let us down on fighting influence peddling and tackling corruption. But I'm hopeful we can begin a new approach in this very committee. The American people should know that regardless of party, should know that an investigation was conducted into whether Joe Biden did anything wrong. We followed the evidence to where it led a dead end. So this impeachment inquiry should end today. And where should we go from here? We should stop partisan attacks on each other and address the real problem. That the American people believe that the rules that prevent corruption are way too weak. To stop politicians on both sides of the aisle from influence peddling. This committee should be working together in a bipartisan way to change the culture of Congress, to crack down on influence peddling and corruption, and just as importantly, to stop the perception of it. Let me give you some facts. I don't even need a whiteboard for this one. 495 former members of Congress work for lobbying firms. 467 members of Congress take corporate PAC money. 78 members of Congress violated the Stock Act last Congress. Clearly, we have our work cut out for us. So let's start the conversation today on what a bipartisan ethics reform package could look like. Here are the organizations that could have come today as witnesses so we could have had a productive conversation. Oversight staff, do you have your notebooks ready? Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, Common Cause, Project on Government Oversight, Public Citizen. With the right witnesses and the commitment to doing what the American people want, this committee can have a real conversation about the problem of influence peddling. And we can pass legislation to create badly needed ethics guardrails. That would be real work, not a real circus. I yield back.
Before I recognize Mr. Timmons, Ms. Porter, I think you are sincere, and I look forward to working with you on that legislation.
Chairman, can we take a 5-minute break? I need to go to the bathroom.
Let us get one more, and then we'll do that. Chair recognizes Mr. Timmons for 5 minutes, then we'll take a break because we have votes coming up anyway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At our hearing last July, I laid out the scheme that the Bidens concocted to sell the Biden brand, netting almost $30 million for various members of the Biden family. This scheme was repeated with various clients in Kazakhstan, China, Romania, Russia, and Ukraine. I'm going to spend my time on just one instance, Ukraine, specifically involving Burisma, which netted Hunter over $3 million during a 3-year period. And to clarify the criminal offenses being alleged, for Hunter Biden, it is conspiracy to commit bribery, 18 U.S.C. Section 201 B, 2A, and C. And for Joe Biden, it's conspiracy to commit extortion under color of official right, 18 U.S.C. Section 1951 B2. And if you want a refresher on those, just look up Senator Menendez and his wife's indictment. So let's start with this. Foreign client has a problem. I've got an email here from Vadim Pozharsky, the Secretary of Burisma. And he is advocating that Hunter Biden intervene with...
Sorry, guys, I'm pausing this for 1 second. Coming back, I'm going to acknowledge the chat. Virginia Roots, what's up, baby? Point Fire, what's up, player? All right, guys, we're watching this fucking shamble, this shit show, this... I don't know how you would describe whatever the fuck this is. They're trying to do it for Trump, and Trump for years still are. Now they're putting Biden through it. Are you there, Grace? Get Virginia going on with the damn. She's starting some gambling. Point, everybody. We got 5 people in the house. Let's keep on watching this shit.
11 days later, we have the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine announcing that Vice President Biden is traveling to Ukraine on December 7th. Oh, interesting. Vice President Biden travels to the country. Here we got a great photo of him touching down. They're very proud of themselves. So Vice President Biden leverages U.S. policy to achieve a favorable outcome for the client. We've all seen the video. He brags about leveraging U.S. foreign loan guarantees to get the Ukrainian government to fire Viktor Shokin to end the investigation. Again, we've got the email from Podarsky saying that we need to leverage you, who have not provided value yet for your $1 million in service, Hunter. He brings in the big guy. Biden leverages U.S. influence, withholds $1 billion in loan guarantee to fire Shokin. So if that's not enough, we got the victory lap here. We got an email just a few months later saying, whoa, we won in less than a year.
I'm still learning Streamlabs and Nightbot, Virginia. You'll have to show me.
It is bribery. Hunter Biden was paid.
You seem like you know about it.
He testified in the deposition that he was drug addicted, that he's never been to Ukraine. Yet he's paid $3 million to get his father to go to solve his client's problem. That is the scheme. Mr. Bobulinski, does this sound like the scheme that you've seen the Biden family do?
I wasn't involved in Ukraine, but the facts surrounding this are very similar to CFC and Romania.
Thank you for that. So this is the thing. If Hunter Biden were here, we would be able to ask him some questions, maybe clear this up. But he's not. He's not here. And what's interesting is that just yesterday, Peter Navarro reported to federal prison in Miami for 4 months for not showing up in front of the January 6th committee. And I want to point out to everybody that the January 6th committee was procedurally defective under House rules. It was procedurally defective because the minority leader did not get to appoint members to that committee. The United States House of Representatives Oversight and Accountability Committee is a procedurally perfect committee. And we have authority to subpoena Hunter Biden, and he has to show up. He has to answer these questions, and he has to tell the world that his father didn't leverage U.S. foreign policy so he would get $3 million. This is no different than what Senator Menendez did. And look, the American people are not buying this nonsense y'all are selling. We have to restore, we must restore their faith in our institutions. And we have to stop this ridiculous two-tiered system of justice where the Department of Justice persecutes President Trump and hides Hunter Biden behind every corner. I mean, this is not the United States of America that the American people deserve. And we have to get our country back on track. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Mr. Chairman,
my time.
did the committee subpoena Hunter Biden today?
Chair recognizes, pursuant to the previous order and at the request of the minority witness, the chair declares the committee in recess for 10 minutes. Then we're going to come back in here, and then we may have to recess again for votes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today's hearing is another unfortunate attempt by my Republican colleagues to muddy the water in an election year with no proof, no evidence, no wrongdoing at all by President Biden. The American people are tired of this charade. As I said before, my Republican colleagues simply grasp at straws that do not exist. While House Democrats in the Biden-Harris administration work to cut costs of prescription drugs, expand student loan forgiveness, and mitigate the threat of gun violence, Republican members of Congress continue to chase after Russian disinformation campaigns from the 2020 election, which have been thoroughly debunked again and again. And as usual, in this committee, we know who is in charge. It is the bondless, broke bluffer, twice impeached, 4 times indicted, insurrection initiator, election self-declared dictator on day one.
Sorry, I had to hop off. Got a bunch of shit going on.
Bunch of crazy shit going on.
Yeah, I mean nothing bad. It's just baby stuff, you know. You
Yeah,
know how
I
it
was in
is.
there. I was putting the boy to sleep a second ago.
All right. Well, I'm gonna hop off here. We'll probably hop back on tomorrow.
All right, brother. We'll see you again soon.
All right, man.
All right, peace.
Who just this week said any Jewish person who votes for a Democrat hates their religion and Israel. The one who called neo-Nazis carrying tiki torches chanting Jews will not replace us, good people. The one who referred to African nations as, I quote, shithole countries. The one who called NFL players, the majority whom are black, sons of bitches for taking a knee in protest of the ever-present racial inequality and police brutality that continues to pervade our justice system. The one who called Mexicans rapists and promised to build a wall and have them pay for it, and in case you missed it, it didn't happen. The one who told women of color from the born in the United States, elected to Congress and serving on this very committee to go back to their own countries. The one who bragged about grabbing women by their private parts. The one who confused his rape
You
victim, whom
fucking
he
right.
claimed was not his type, for his very own ex-wife. The one who is an admitted and committed adulterer who attempted to pay off a porn star for her silence. The one who has publicly mocked people with disabilities. The one who dodged the draft and referred to prisoners of war as losers, the very people who pay a high price so we can enjoy the freedoms that far too many of us take for granted. The one who boasted about being able to stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue to shoot someone and not lose votes. The one who promoted political and physical violence multiple times, including most
Shut
recently
up,
at my rally in
bitch.
my home state of Ohio, where he declared voting a
You're right,
bloodbath if he
Virginia. He
didn't
was talking
win.
about
The
bowling.
one who intentionally denied COVID was deadly and eventually suggested testing in
This bitch is retarded.
virus that took the lives of 1 million people in the United States. The one who ordered his son-in-law get top secret security clearance, overruling concerns flagged by intelligence officials, who, according to this committee's chairman, admitted the former president's son-in-law crossed the line of ethics by accepting a $2 billion investment into that very same son-in-law's fledgling firm only 6 months after leaving the White House. If any of this sounds crazy, it's because it is. This might sound unbelievable, but it's all true. These are facts, indisputable facts. A thing that is known and proven to be true. This may be a foreign concept to some of my colleagues, but for those of us who still have a relationship with the truth, please know this is not an exhaustive list of inappropriate, unethical, and questionable behavior by the maniacal manipulator of Mar-a-Lago, because I could go on, but I only have 5 minutes. Yet here we are again, trying to make sense out of nonsense. I would humbly, respectfully ask my Republican colleagues on this committee to stop falling over themselves to win the approval of one, because millions of people are depending on you to defend our delicate democracy. And with that, I yield the remainder of my time to
Chair now.
the ranking member.
Second.
Oh, I don't know that there's much time left, but thank you for that eloquent and compressed recitation of some of what we've lived with over the last few years.
Chair recognizes Mr. LaTurner from Kansas for 5 minutes.
Mr. Bobolinsky, I want to talk about May of 2017. To be clear, Hunter Biden was doing business with CEFC while his dad was VP. Are you aware of that now? Rob Walker told us that during his transcribed interview before the committee. But I want to talk to you about your meeting with Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and Jim Biden in May of 2017. Other members are going to bring up the meeting you had with Joe Biden at the Beverly Hilton the night before the Milken Conference, but I want to talk about the next day when you went as Joe Biden's guest to the Milken Conference. So, you watched Joe Biden deliver a speech that day. Then you had a follow-up conversation with Joe Biden. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
What did Joe Biden tell you during that conversation?
Well, as I've already publicly shared, I was brought backstage by his team because he had just given his keynote, and we just exchanged pleasantries, and then I walked him out to his car, and he specifically thanked me for the work I was doing with his son and his brother and asked me to keep an eye on them.
And my understanding is, Mr. Bobolinsky, that after Joe Biden had left, you went across the street to the Peninsula Hotel and had a long conversation with his brother, Jim Biden. Isn't that correct?
I did.
It's my understanding that you asked him how the Biden family does the business that they do, while Joe Biden is such a prominent political figure. What was Jim Biden's response to you?
Correct. I was actually concerned and asking from a position of concern, and Jim Biden's response to me was plausible deniability.
Plausible deniability. And by that, you mean Joe Biden would be kept in the loop, but you weren't supposed to talk about it, especially in writing. Mr. Galanis, during your transcribed interview with the committees, you said a very interesting phrase. Say it, forget it, write it, regret it. Does this sound familiar? Is this consistent with your understanding of how the Bidens do business, Mr. Galanis?
Yeah, very, very much so. That was an operating principle, yes.
But it looks like someone made a mistake. Mr. Bobulinski, you created 2 companies with the Bidens. I want to show you an infamous email discussing the ownership structure of one of those companies, CEFC. You can see on the screen, 20% for H, 20% for Rob Walker, 20% for James Gilliar, 20% for Tony Bobulinski, 10% for Jim Biden, and 10% held by H for the, quote, big guy. Mr. Bobulinski, who is the big guy?
The big guy is 100% Joe Biden.
Mr. Bobulinski, Hunter Biden didn't respond saying, knock it off. We can't include Joe Biden, did he?
No, and that's actually a critical point because remember,
Mr. Bobulinski, did you ever get a text message or a group text message or anything like that saying, guys, knock it off, Joe Biden isn't involved in this deal?
no, the whistleblowers actually have a text exchange where they're talking about everything else but that. And the reason why they weren't talking about it is because everyone knew Joe Biden was the big guy.
Hunter Biden begged for a public hearing, but it turns out he is too afraid of accountability to show up and tell the truth to the American people. But Americans don't need Hunter's testimony to know they are being gaslit by this president. It's blatantly obvious to anyone paying attention that Joe Biden is the big guy. The CEFC deal broke
Building your online business? Go to Wix and set up your
the say it, forget it, write it, regret it rule of the Biden family businesses, and now they are trying to cover it up. Confirmed that Hunter, Jim, and the big guy himself all got a cut from the CEFC China energy deal. Let me be clear. The only service the Biden family ever provided was their ability to leverage the office of the Vice President of the United States to cash in overseas. My Democrat colleagues are going to try and tell you that Joe Biden wasn't on the final ownership structure agreement, but isn't it true? If someone was holding Joe Biden's stake in the company, it wouldn't appear in the document. Isn't that the whole point of this email, to hold Joe Biden's stake so his name wouldn't be in the document? Isn't this just plausible deniability in action, Mr. Bobulinski?
It appears that way.
But plausible deniability only gets you so far. Now, I want to fast forward from May to the end of July of 2017 when the Bidens cut you out of the deal. I want to show you a message that Hunter sent to his Chinese business partners. Please put it up on the screen. Hunter writes, quote, I am sitting here with my father and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. So, when Hunter Biden is desperate for money, Jim Biden's old trick of plausible deniability doesn't cut it. And when desperate times call for desperate measures, Hunter Biden let the cat out of the bag, said the quiet part out loud, and gave the game away by calling on his father to help him shake down his Chinese business partners for the money. And it worked. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Mr. Chairman, just point of inquiry. What was the last image we saw that you put up? Where did that come from? I just want to authenticate that.
This is the Ways and Means Committee Exhibit 300.
Must be the Irish whistleblower note. All right. Not an inquiry, though. Anyway, Chair recognizes Ms. Stansberry for the last question.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome to the GOP's day-long campaign for Donald Trump. I want to start with Mr. Galanis to help connect some dots that have not yet been connected in this hearing. Mr. Galanis, you are serving just under 16 years for, among other things, as was been said today, defrauding a tribal nation and specifically a tribal corporation held by the Ogallala Sioux, which is why you are testifying from a prison today. But I'd like to ask you, Mr. Galanis, have you had an attorney representing you before this committee that you retained last December? And that attorney's name is Mr. Mark Paoletta, correct?
That's correct.
And when you first testified before this committee in a taped interview, you were actually stopped by Mr. Paoletta from answering just a simple question about how you met him and who exactly was paying your legal fees. Now, I want to make sure that the American people understand exactly who Mr. Paoletta is, because he is, in fact, a former lawyer to Donald Trump who served in the administration in the Office of Management and Budget and was at the center of the Ukrainian pressure campaign for which Donald Trump was impeached. And in fact, Mr. Paoletta was Trump's chief OMB lawyer when he withheld aid to Ukraine to try to extort the Ukrainian government into investigating Joe Biden to support Donald Trump's campaign. And Mr. Paoletta literally wrote the memo to help withhold those funds. Now, I want to dig in a little bit on this pressure campaign, and Mr. Lev Parnas is here to discuss as an eyewitness who was there. Mr. Parnas, we appreciate you being here, and I want to move through this quickly, so just ask for simple yes and no answers. You've testified here today that Donald Trump repeatedly asked you and through Rudy Giuliani to put pressure on the Ukrainian government to dig up dirt on Joe Biden to support Trump's campaign, correct?
100% yes.
And as we can see here in this picture, you were very much a business associate of Rudy Giuliani during this time. And as established in your testimony, you traveled to and met with Ukrainian officials and told them that the White House would withhold its support and aid to Ukraine if it did not cooperate with this bribery, essentially.
That's correct.
And as we all know, Donald Trump's administration, and specifically the Office of Management and Budget, did withhold that foreign aid in 2019. And here's the guy who did it. And he's representing the witness who's literally on Zoom with us for this committee today. And it's the reason why Donald Trump was impeached the first time. And the man at the center of that
The machine's rising up on us.
his inquiry. But I also want to point out that Mr. Paoletta is also involved in and very much in bed with the Thomases. In fact, he represented Miss Jenny Thomas, Clarence Thomas's wife, in her involvement in the Stop the Steal before the January 6th committee, and actually also goes on vacation with Mr. Harlan Crow and the Thomases. So this man has quite an interesting roster and participation in this hearing. But the bigger picture here is that Mr. Paoletta's presence is yet another indication of the way in which this hearing and this impeachment inquiry is part of Donald Trump's larger misinformation campaign, just like it was in 2020, where in addition to pressuring and withholding aid to Ukraine, Rudy Giuliani and the Trump Organization, as Mr. Parnas has established, planted the story in the media. And now here we are 4 years later as they've dredged it back up and are planting it back in the media using Congress, using this committee, and using a baseless impeachment supported by Donald Trump's own allies on this committee to push that information out. As members on this committee have trafficked in false evidence that was planted by a Russian operative to the FBI and is now in jail for that. All of this is in the service of propping up the criminal enterprise for which Donald Trump is at the top and has already been twice impeached. Rudy Giuliani and others have been exposed as they continue to traffic in Russian disinformation.
They keep on sending these retarded ass hoes out to talk for Biden.
Himself and his goals back in Russia and in Ukraine. So I just want to point out here that once again, as I said, when we had a false impeachment hearing a few months ago, that once again, we see the
time's expired. Gentlelady's time's expired.
Little hands of Donald Trump all over this hearing.
And just want to state, you made a mistake and said that Mr. Parnas was a Republican witness. He is very much your witness, not a Republican witness.
But I was a Republican for Donald Trump.
Mr. Chairman, I did not
Pursuant-
believe I said that, so we can.
Pursuant to the previous order, the chair declares the committee in recess due to votes. Subject to the call of the chair, we will reconvene 10 minutes after the 3 votes. All right, committee will reconvene. Chair now recognize Mr. Perry from Pennsylvania for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Galanis, I'm going to turn my questions to you. I hope I can see you on the screen here shortly. Are you there, Mr. Galanis? There you are. Okay. If we can jump right into another Biden Chinese.
I have a movie trailer or two. Got a couple. Sorry, my mic. I don't have a mic yet. I'm trying to get a new one. My other one got all fucked up. Got a movie trailer or two. I'm gonna show you guys soon. So we're gonna get through this whole impeachment trial.
Can you tell us what was Burnham?
Yeah, so Burnham was an 85-year-old financial services company based in New York that owned an asset management firm and a securities dealer. But relative to the Chinese, it was an unimportant small player. I'll give you scale: $1.5 billion versus $300 billion Chinese company.
So what was Hunter Biden's interest in working with them, knowing that that was the situation?
I think Hunter Biden was already working with them through the fund that was created. The BHR, Harvest was the H, and is described in some of Hunter's emails that I have provided to the committee. He described the activity with BHR, meaning the Harvest activity, as one of his only focuses, and his other focus would be the activity between Harvest directly and Burnham directly in a combination. So his stated objective, in his own words, in writing, was those were to be his only focus and his only priority in working with the Chinese on a go-forward basis.
Did you also say that he said the interest in working with Burnham was to make billions instead of millions? Is that right?
Yeah, I did say that, and that was on the basis of looking to become a much larger company where his equity interest would be worth a lot of money, billions, not millions.
And you said the Harvest Fund was a $300 billion Chinese financial services company. Was it likely connected, or was it connected closely to the Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese government?
That's my understanding.
Okay. And who was Henry Zhao?
He's been described to me consistently by Devin and Hunter as the chairman, but he's essentially the head of Harvest. I think he's had a couple of different roles over the years, but chairman is the best way. He was always characterized as chairman and the decision maker for that entity.
Right. So he's the chairman of the $300 billion Chinese entity connected to the Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party. And he was based out of where? Where was his base of operations?
In Beijing, China, PRC.
And like you said, you heard him referred to occasionally
We got a
as
good
Chairman
fucking
Zhao, right?
heist just now.
Most of the time it was Chairman Zhao out of a sort of a respect for the chairman. Yes.
Okay, so now there came to a point where Hunter wanted to bring Henry Zhao, the chairman of Harvest, and their billions of dollars from China into business with Burnham. Is that right?
That's correct. That's correct, Congressman.
And why would he do that?
It was a financial decision. Chinese offered money, and he offered political access.
Okay.
It was in exchange.
Fair enough. It's pretty obvious what Harvest brings, right? $300 billion. But why would Harvest be interested in Burnham versus other financial institutions? I'm sure there are other ones out there, and like you said, it was fairly small. Harvest is $300 billion. Why would they care about this small Burnham? What was the interest for them?
I mean, the self-evident answer is the political access, and then sort of underscoring that is there are at least 2 emails produced that talk about exactly that, the influence, or what Hunter had characterized as Henry Zhao's interest in the access vehicle. So that was sort of explicit and in writing.
Okay, so Joe Biden was going to sit on the board of a Chinese company connected to the highest levels of the Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party. Stepping back in your dealings with Hunter, what was the value that Hunter brought to the table?
It was the access to the inducement to induce companies like this Harvest Group to participate in Burnham. So it was we'll call it relationship capital that he brought to the table, not financial capital.
Relationship
But
capital
economic value to the business.
Relationship capital that you described as the Biden lift. What was the Biden lift?
Biden lift was simply Hunter's access to his father and his father's power and prestige in influencing the growth of a financial services business, which is largely reliant on its reputation and ability to attract other clients.
I'm running out of time here, but it sounds like a quid pro quo to me. Sir, what did Harvest did in fact invest money in Burnham? You called it a material inducement. Can you explain what that means? And do you know how much the Chinese paid?
I believe I was out of the picture toward the end of 2015. I believe that they ended up paying $4 million into Burnham. I believe, though, as a result of legal entanglements that I encountered, that the transactions didn't happen in the way people expected or that they had written about in terms of what the Chinese were expected to do.
All right, Mr. Galanis, I just want one last question. I'm going to show you a draft email that you provided to the committee. Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Objection on time. Good job. Chair now recognize Ms. Crockett for 1 minute or 5 minutes.
1 minute. All right. First of all, Mr. Bobulinski, do you know who Elections LLC is? Yeah.
Well, it's not a who.
Okay. Well, do you know what it is?
Yes, it's a LLC.
Okay. And is it the LLC that your attorney works for?
I believe so, yes.
You believe so. Okay. So at this point in time, I'd ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a document indicating that the law firm representing Tony Bobulinski was paid $10,000 as recently as January of this year by the Save America PAC, which you may recognize as Donald Trump's PAC.
Without objection.
Thank you. Now, so far in this hearing, it has felt like the worst episode of The Apprentice. I'm sure you're familiar with that show. It seems like
Her fucking jacket.
United States of America, you're auditioning or something like that, because Mr. Bobulinski, I know that you take exception to the fact that your credibility has been called into question over and over. But when someone comes to testify under oath, whether it's before this committee, behind closed doors, or in person, then we have to evaluate someone's credibility. And sir, I definitely have always had issues with your credibility, as I know that you are very well aware of. So let me remind you of what happened behind closed doors.
Well, you should ask O'Connor about my
I haven't
credibility.
asked you a question. Okay.
You are?
When I haven't. So when I ask you a question, that's when you answer. Otherwise, I'm talking. So,
excuse me?
With my time, because it's my time,
I
I want to be clear that when we were behind closed doors, you called a number of people liars. You called the Wall Street Journal.
She told your ass. She told your fucking ass.
Listen, a liar. You called the FBI a liar. You called Rob Walker a liar. You called James Gilliar a liar. You called Hunter Biden a liar. You called Jim Biden a liar. And just today, you added to your list, you called my colleague, Congressman Mr. Goldman, a liar as well. It seems like, according to you, the only person that's telling the truth is you, and everyone else is lying. But I want to move on to something else.
Is that a question?
It's not a question.
Okay.
You'll know when I ask you a question, I promise.
Thank you.
So the other thing that I want to talk about is the fact that my colleague from the other side of the aisle talked about the company that we keep. And she...
This Miss Crockett is actually hotter, I believe, than Kamala
She felt like we're bad company.
would ever be.
Testimony of someone who's currently sitting in federal prison.
And we know that your company is the company of somebody who's been found liable of fraud, as well as defamation, as well as sexual assault, and for whatever reason can't pay his bills at this point in time. But I'm going to ask Mr. Parnas, so this is a question to him. Are you aware if Trump had any associates that have been found guilty of anything?
Yes, lots of them.
Lots of them.
Me included.
You included. Okay. So when you were called here to testify, you weren't called here to testify for any other reason than to tell the truth. Is that correct?
Yes, Congresswoman.
Now, we started this whole sham off because of the 1023, and that was debunked by you, was it not?
Yes, Congresswoman.
Way before we started this impeachment inquiry. And you mentioned a number of times this guy by the name of Rudy Giuliani.
Yes.
Now, you know, everybody is so stressed about the fact that Hunter ain't here today. But, you know, Hunter came and testified behind closed doors for over 6 hours. And every single one of them, they weren't limited to 5 minutes. They could ask whatever they wanted to. And there's a full transcript of his testimony. So I don't know what else they wanted to do besides the fact that they wanted to put on a show. But let me tell you something. This whole thing is based upon something that Giuliani came up with.
Yes.
And we tried to subpoena him. That's what I remember. If anybody else remember, we asked, we said, hey, we should subpoena Giuliani. But, you know, kind of like when we were trying to get his cell phone, they shut it down, right? Like they don't want the facts. But you would agree with me that considering the fact that you were working under Rudy Giuliani at the time that you went over to Ukraine, that he has maybe some valuable information that he could offer this committee as to whether or not there's anything that we should be investigating in the first place.
Absolutely, Congresswoman. I wish that this committee would subpoena Rudy Giuliani, put him under oath alongside me to get to the bottom of the truth of what actually happened in Ukraine and to the manipulation that Trump and Giuliani and the team went to do.
I agree with you, but somehow it doesn't look like we're going to get there. And I thank you for your time. With that, I'll yield.
Time's expired. Chair now recognizes Mr. Biggs from Arizona.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Galanis, on May 9th, 2014, you received an email from Devin Archer confirming, or you wrote an email confirming that Ms. Badarina was investing with Burnham Investments, $15 to $20 million. Is that true?
Yes, Congressman.
And let's talk about the predicate for that. Ms. Badarina is the richest woman in Russia, and you knew her. And were you invited to a party that she attended?
Yes, in Brooklyn, yes.
Let's have the invitation up, please. And here's a copy of the invitation that you received. Is that right?
Don't yet see it, Congressman. I did receive an email invitation, so
Yeah,
yes.
an email invitation. And did you go to that party?
Yes, I did attend that party, yes.
And was Hunter Biden at that party?
Yes, he was.
And we know that he was because we have a confirmation of his calendar, which is the next exhibit. It was noted on there, and he showed up there. And so all of that's true. It's all verified right there. And Yelena Baturina and her then husband, Yuri, they were at the party, right?
Correct.
With Devin Archer as well?
That's correct.
And during that party, you guys, Hunter pulled you guys, the people we just named, pulled them away from where the party is, and you go to a separate little area where it's quieter because there were over 100 people at that party. Is that true?
That's true, yes.
And all of a sudden, Hunter says, okay, I'm going to make a phone call. He makes a phone call, does he not?
He does.
To whom?
He called his father.
Then Vice President Joe Biden, who was vice president at the time. What was said on the call, please? Wait a second. Before you tell us, the reason you know it is because he put it on speakerphone, right?
He did. After he said hello, and then he put it on speakerphone. So I was first party to hearing it. And
please sum it up.
I'm sorry, Congressman, I talked over you.
Yeah, please sum up that phone call for us, Mr. Galanis.
Okay, it was a relatively short call, but it was, he indicated that our friends had come in from out of town, that then the exchanges it testified was related to they were going to proceed, things were going to proceed. And he said, the vice president had said, "You look after my boy."
And it was, and it was 5 days after that party that you received word from Devin that Ms. Batarina was in for $15 to $20 million with you guys, right?
That's correct.
Let's go to a different issue. Let's go to the harvest issue. And I just refresh everyone's recollection. When Devin Archer was there, because at that time he had to come in. He came on in, and we had this great conversation with. I said, "Hey, did Hunter ever indicate to you that the Chinese anticipated that after his father was out of office, he might join their company with one of their companies as a paid advisor?" Mr. Archer says, "Did he intimate that?" I said, "Did he indicate that to you?" Mr. Archer, "I don't recall, but potentially." I don't recall, but potentially. And I said, "You don't recall, but it's not new to you. The concept is not new to you. Is that what you're saying?" He said, "No, it's not new to me." Why wasn't it new to him? Why wasn't it new to him? It wasn't new.
It's because that was.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was an explicit discussion amongst us that was an.
If you carry a gun, then you need a USCCA membership. Hoping for the best isn't a good defense plan. When it comes to self-defense, you inducement
to the Chinese to invest in the Burnham business.
When
that being the VP's position post his position, official position.
On a board of advisors, paid board of advisors.
Of the Chinese company, Harvest, yes.
And when you say us, who was the us that was discussing that?
What I was referring to and just making that comment was Hunter, Devin, and myself.
Let's go to something else.
There was a broader sort of circulation group about that, and that was reflected in an email from a staff member at the Thornton Group who circulated the draft email that also reflected he had a similar conversation and drafted a letter based on that understanding.
How long have you been incarcerated, Mr. Galanis?
I've been incarcerated for 8 years, Congressman.
And
yeah,
you offered to tell the Southern District of New York and SEC about Hunter Biden's company, Rosemont Seneca Bohai, and they rejected your offer, didn't they?
On multiple occasions, that's correct.
Why do you think they rejected that offer?
Time's expired, but please answer the question. Answer the question, Mr. Lutz.
All I can tell you is what counsel said to me.
Which was?
Counsel had indicated to me that he had never seen a prosecution reject information, particularly paper-based information that could have corroborated my verbal statements.
Thank you. My time has expired. Thank you.
Very good. Chair recognizes Ms. Bush for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. St. Louis and I are here today once again to focus on the real issues that affect our communities instead of this partisan circus. Let me start by saying that influence peddling is absolutely a very serious issue, full stop. But we all know the truth. Donald Trump is the quintessential influence peddler in chief. Despite this, for well over a year now, House Republicans have spent dozens of hours of precious committee time hearing testimony from nearly 20 witnesses on their baseless and increasingly embarrassing attempts to link President Biden to actions of his family members and implicate him by association. Even after all this time and effort, they haven't been able to muster up any credible links between the president and his son's business dealings. All they have proven is that they will do whatever it takes, including using their razor-thin majority and chairmanships to waste the people's time. Let's let today's hearing be the final nail in the coffin of this sham impeachment investigation. I urge my Republican colleagues to admit that their question it's time for them to move on. But that's not likely to happen because my Republican colleagues don't care about responsible governance or making people's lives better. They don't have an affirmative agenda. They would rather distract us all with these unfounded accusations against the president. So it's no coincidence that under Republican leadership, 2023 marked the most unproductive year in modern history for Congress.
Aside from a failed impeachment investigation, an unprecedented 3-week stint without a speaker, and bringing our country to the brink of a catastrophic government shutdown multiple times, Republicans have done absolutely nothing to demonstrate why they deserve to control any chamber of Congress, let alone the White House, for which their cult leader, a twice impeached, 4 times indicted former president, is running to gain influence and control again. They're just grasping at straws, and it'd be comical if it wasn't leading to real harm and real hurt in our communities. The people of our country are the ones paying the price for their failure to actually govern. Instead of wasting all of our time, our hours and hours going down fake rabbit holes and amplifying baseless conspiracies, we could focus on actual policy. We could focus on substance. We could focus on saving and improving the lives of our constituents, not misusing precious time and resources of this committee. What I'd rather focus on is the people who don't have the money and resources to buy influence, the millions of people in our districts who have been harmed by the ongoing refusal of the federal government to take full responsibility for the Manhattan Project waste, and who are still getting sick from exposure to toxic radioactive waste their own government created. It still lingers in communities all across the country, like in St. Louis, Missouri, where proper cleanup still remains undone. I am ranking member on the Subcommittee on Economic Growth, Energy Policy, and Regulatory Affairs. I have repeatedly requested a hearing on Manhattan Project waste and its countless victims. I'm still waiting. We could focus on ending the crisis of gun violence in this country. Every day, 327 people are shot in the United States. Every year, 42,654 people die from gun violence. More children die from guns than anything else in this country. Why are we not acting to protect them? How are we not treating this like the public health emergency that it is? We could focus on improving the lives of incarcerated individuals and weaning ourselves off of the carceral state. A currently incarcerated individual is your star witness today. I applaud your inclusivity. And surely, if folks convicted of crimes can testify before Congress, they should be allowed to vote. Why not enfranchise them? What about reproductive rights and freedom? We have a public health crisis in this country where millions of people of reproductive age can't get the care that they need. People in St. Louis are being forced to give birth against their will. Republicans need to use abortion care just like the rest of us. Why not meaningfully address this issue? We need to focus on ending the atrocities in Gaza and Israel. Since January, malnutrition in children under 5 has nearly doubled. Global experts warn famine is imminent for 1.1 million people, half the population due to catastrophic food insecurity. Why are we not acting to reinstate UNRWA, prevent famine and the spread of disease, and ending the continued slaughter of Palestinians? We do not have infinite time and resources. I'll stop there. Thank you. And I yield the balance of my time to Rep. Goldman.
Shut the
Thank you very
fuck
much,
up,
Ms.
bitch.
10 seconds. I want to just point to a photo here. Mr. Bobolinsky, you have testified that Cassidy Hutchinson's account that you met Mark Meadows, then chief of staff for Donald Trump, at a Trump rally in Georgia behind Secret Service cars. You were wearing Time's a mask. expired. Sir, you went over a minute late with Mr. Perry. If we could have a little extra time. If you, Trump rally that you said that Time's she was expired. lying. Chair now
Time's
recognizes Mr.
expired.
Sessions for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, could we have some basic
No,
equity?
if
there?
someone else wants to yield, she had 8 seconds to yield him, and he's got up here with a speech. He's already abused his privilege by making a motion that wasn't even a motion. Chair has ruled. The chair has ruled. The chair has ruled. What are you can afraid get of, someone else Mr. to Chairman? Recognize your. What are you afraid of? Why don't you let me ask the question? Chair recognizes the gentleman from. Oh, what purpose do you seek recognition, Mr. Biggs?
Unanimous consent to introduce the documents into the record.
Without objection.
Thank you,
So
Mr.
ordered.
Chairman. Here they are. One is the invitation that was mentioned. Another is Hunter Biden's calendar. Another is the email mentioned confirming that Yelena Ballerina was going to invest $10 to $20 million with him.
This
Another one
might
is
be a 5 hour,
page,
6 hours.
180 of the Galenis
We will
interview,
check all kinds
page
of shit out at
56
that
of
point.
the transcribed interview of Hunter Biden, and also pages 41 and 42 of the Galenis interview.
Without objection, so ordered into the
Chairman, I have
record.
a
Now,
UC
Chair, what purpose do you seek recognition, Mr. Goldman? I have a UC motion, Mr. Chairman. Proceed. I would like to enter into the record the portion of the
Devin Archer transcript where he says that Yelena Baturina never had any business dealings with Hunter Biden and that money went into their joint account was done by mistake.
By mistake. Okay. Without objection.
And Mr. Chairman, I have one UC request as well.
Proceed.
This is from Salon Magazine. It's embarrassing. Republicans worry they have zero accomplishments to run on in elections.
Without objection, so ordered. Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Sessions, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. I'd first like to enter into the record 302s that were done with Mr. Bobulinski, what's known as Exhibit A, 400A. Thank you very much. Mr. Bobulinski, thank you for being here. Mr. Parnas, thank you for being here. And those of you who are appearing extraneous.
This shit is a bunch of fucking.
That you work for in terms of paychecks, getting paychecks, providing the IRS with documentation of people who were paid out of the organization.
I'm not sure I'm following your question.
Were you ever paid?
I was not.
So you were never paid by this organization?
I was not.
Did you ever receive any enumeration?
What
To shut down Sinohawk Holdings LLC and Oneida Holdings LLC, I was compensated. It wasn't a compensation; it was a reimbursement of $50,000 of money I'd come out of pocket, traveling around, paying for hotels and stuff like that.
So in other words, people did not get paid, or you didn't get paid that you're aware of. Were you aware that other people were being paid?
The Biden family was paid. Hunter and Jim Biden were clearly paid millions of dollars.
And how would you think that information would be
Just sitting
transmitted
here
about them
chilling,
receiving
listening.
that payment and going to the IRS?
Listening to the damn impeachment trials of Joe Biden. If you try to get some points, try to gamble, see what's up.
That came public with a bunch of information, and then Senator Johnson and Senator Grassley's report. I never saw. The only bank account I ever saw is the one I set up at JP Morgan for Sinohawk Holdings and Oneida Holdings LLC. JP Morgan was well aware that the Biden family were owners in that business. They authorized it, approved it. And
What
it was an
social
operating
security number was utilized to set up that account?
for Sinohawk and Oneida.
Yes.
We had to represent the owners of the underlying entity, so they were aware that Hudson West 4 owned 50% of Sinohawk Holdings, and they provided their information. On the Oneida side, we represented that each of us owned 20%, and I'd have to go back and look. I, as the CEO, probably provided my social security number. I'm not sure if we provided social security numbers for all 5 members.
And yet you
Or,
never,
excuse me, tax IDs for their LLC.
or tax IDs, and yet you never received money except reimbursement for out-of-pocket expenses that were related to the business.
Correct. And imagine that $50,000 I was paid was actually from the legal side of Sinohawk Holdings and the Chinese, while the Bidens had defrauded me and were receiving millions of dollars into their own pockets.
Were you aware that they were receiving millions of dollars at the time?
I was not.
Did you spend time with the Department of Justice on this matter?
I did. I had a voluntary interview with the FBI on October 23rd, I believe, 2020.
They approached you or you approached them?
My lawyers coordinated me. Which is obviously public knowledge, went to the second debate. I flew to DC with the intent of sitting in front of Senator Johnson, Senator Grassley and their committee. And then my lawyers sought counsel, had discussions, and decided it was a better focus of my time to walk voluntarily into the FBI.
So where did you do that?
In Washington, D.C.
Main Justice, Main FBI, or the field office?
I believe it was the leading field office. They didn't want to do it in Main Justice for some their reasons. They decided. I would have gone wherever they asked me to go.
Did they tell you at the time that you were providing information that if you provided information that was not true and correct, that you could be held liable for that under criminal statute?
Yeah, yes, of course. I appreciate you asking that question. I was operated it as if I misrepresented, misstated, lied, that I was committing criminal offenses, which I take very seriously based on the fact that I was willing to die for this country. And to just correct Ms. Crockett's statement earlier, I didn't accuse the FBI of lying. I stated in my transcribed interview that the FBI made mistakes in their 302. My lawyers never saw that document after my interview until it was made public to the world.
And then you attempted to correct that 302.
I did.
Is that the same 302 known as Exhibit 400A that I have entered in the record today?
It is.
Do you have any other dispute with that? And have you looked at it? And do you have any other dispute?
Well, there's numerous mistakes in it.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have any reason to believe that all of these SAR reports that have come out of banks were all fraud?
And gentleman's time's expired, but he asked a question about the SARS report.
No, I mean, just the number of SARS reports should give every American pause. The average American in this country will never receive a single SAR in their entire life. So for a family or an individual to have over what I've publicly seen 150 of them is just extraordinary.
I want to thank all the witnesses that are here today, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Gentleman's time's expired. Chair now recognize Mr. Frost. Or who? I thought you said Frost. Oh, Mr. Kassar. Frost was next. Kassar.
Thank you, Chairman. And if I could have my full 5 minutes, I'd appreciate that.
Reset the clock for 5 minutes for Mr. Kassar.
I'll be right back.
Agree on the merits of this meritless investigation. I hope, Chairman, that we can at least come to an agreement on some basics. I believe that you and I can agree that presidents and White House officials should not be unduly influenced by foreign powers. So, Chairman, I'd be happy to yield to you briefly for a yes or no. Can we all agree that White House officials should not be bribed or unduly influenced by foreign actors?
It's your time. You can ask. We have witnesses here.
I would assume that you would agree.
We have witnesses. If you want to ask the witnesses question, or you want to waste time with me,
I'm not wasting time with you. I think that we've been disagreeing all day. I hope we can come to an agreement that White House officials should not be bribed or unduly influenced by foreign powers. I think you and I agree on this point. I see you nodding your head. I assume that that is a yes. I'm glad that we can work as an oversight committee on investigations, do the work we need to do, and make sure that no one in the White House has betrayed the public trust. We've spent countless hours talking about Hunter Biden, investigating every single person it seems like he's ever shaken hands with. We've not found a shred of evidence that connects it to the President of the United States or anyone with any say over U.S. policy. But someone who has worked in the White House did accept money from a foreign power. Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, received a staggering $2 billion from Saudi Arabia for his brand new private equity firm. And while Hunter Biden never had any say over U.S. policy, Mr. Kushner got this $2 billion 6 months after working in the White House as a senior advisor on Middle East policy. Mr. Kushner had no experience in private equity. In fact, he was so inexperienced that Saudi officials tried to block the transfer of the money until the Crown Prince overruled them. While working at the White House, Mr. Kushner pushed through a $110 billion weapons sale for Saudi Arabia. I'm finishing my point and then I'm happy to talk about it. He then defended the deal in the wake of the Saudi government's murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. And while this may all just be a coincidence, there's many questions. Like, was any of this money passed along to Trump? Was the Saudi money a thank you for a job well done in the White House? Was Jared given this money in exchange for anything else? Or did someone with no experience just have a lucky payday? These are questions we should have answers to.
Would the gentleman yield for a second?
That the Oversight Committee should look into.
But we can just add another question. What was the role that Jared Kushner played in covering up the assassination and dismemberment of Jamal Khashoggi ordered by the Royal Conference?
Ranking member. And so I want to know, if Hunter Biden had accepted $2 billion from the Saudi government, I'm sure we'd be looking into that today. And Mr. Chairman, I believe we can agree that there should not be undue influence in the White House. And I believe we should be able to agree that we should look into these questions about Mr. Kushner. And in fact, Mr. Chairman, you were on CNN and said, quote, I've been very vocal that I think what Kushner did crossed the line of ethics. And then in our deposition of Hunter Biden the other day, when we were discussing Mr. Kushner, you said, Mr. Chairman, and I quote from the deposition, when we deal with influence peddling, we'll ask about Jared Kushner. Well, today's hearing is titled Influence Peddling. So we are here. So, Mr. Comer, I would love to hear from you. Can we fulfill our responsibility as an oversight committee and determine if Saudi Arabia bribed or unduly influenced Jared Kushner or other White House officials? Is that something we'd be willing to look into?
We've already had a conversation with Ms. Porter. I'm going to answer one time. Ms. Porter and I have pledged to work on influence peddling legislation. We'll take up all the people who have been accused of influence peddling. We'll try to determine whether Jared Kushner has a real business. We haven't been able to find a real business that the Bidens have had yet. Now, just still your time, Mr.
So could we expect to subpoena Mr. Kushner's correspondence with the Saudi government or his firm's financial records or financial transactions between Mr. Kushner and his father-in-law? Is that something that we would consider doing as part of that hearing you just discussed?
What was the question?
If we are serious about looking into foreign money, I saw recently a poster board here about $100,000 to a car dealership. Are we going to be serious about the $2 billion from the Saudi government to Mr. Kushner? My question is, would we be at least subpoenaing Jared's correspondence with the Saudi government and his firm's financial records? Can we commit to doing that?
I think it's important to see if there were real legitimate businesses.
And if there was influence
let me
peddling?
ask you a question. What business was Hunter Biden in?
We heard explicitly from Mr. Biden. We heard explicitly from Mr. Biden about his extensive business record and his experience on boards. We heard about that.
Time's
Mr.
expired.
Kushner, on the other hand,
Chair now recognizes
billion
Mr. Fallon for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chair,
That's a shame.
before I start my questions, I'd like to enter into the record, submit to the record an article from the Kyiv Post, and then a second article from the Kyiv Post entitled "Prosecutor General Shokin Resigns," and it's updated. If I can enter this.
Without objection to order.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I sat in on the entire 7+ hour deposition that Hunter Biden gave to this committee. And one of the things that stood out to me was his assertions with a rather braggadocious flair of his business experience and his acumen and his impeccable qualifications. He claimed with quite some vigor, I might add, that he was a brilliant, accomplished, and highly sought after business commodity. He's very successful, and he had an unparalleled resume that he recited to us chapter and verse to prove it. That was at least the face his lawyers, this administration, and the House Democrats wanted him to wear. Of course, there's another possibility, one that this pesky little thing we call reality, that he was a spoiled, entitled East Coast patrician with a senator and then VP daddy who squandered his many life advantages and spiraled into a decadent behavioral pattern of narcissistic excess and criminal addiction. And to feed his very large carnal appetites, he acted as his family's bagman in an influence peddling and access selling scheme that netted the Biden tribe over $24 million in illicit foreign cash. Lots of money, little effort in a get-rich-quick scheme. If he was such a skilled and gifted businessman as he claimed, his services would be sought after, in fact, even fought over. Mr. Bobulinski, to your knowledge, how many Fortune 500 companies retained Hunter Biden on their board of directors?
Now or in his
Ever?
I can't confirm any.
Yeah, because there aren't any. Zero. How about how many energy companies retained Hunter Biden? I'm sorry. How many American energy companies retained Hunter Biden on their boards of directors?
Zero.
Zero, nada, correct. There was one energy company that retained him on their board of directors. Do you know what that name of that company was?
Yes, Burisma.
Burisma, correct. Where's Burisma located?
Ukraine.
Really? That's interesting because, and he was hired actually for no small sum, $1 million a year. Hunter Biden said in his deposition he could bring, and Mr. Chairman, I apologize for laughing, but he said his corporate governance to the table.
Yankee.
He brought something far more valuable than his corporate governance. He brought his, in his fictitious business acumen, he brought his daddy with him. You see, Joe Biden just happened to have been given the country of Ukraine in his portfolio of responsibility to oversee by the Obama administration. So let's go over some facts, Mr. Chairman. Fact, Burisma and CEO Mykola Zlochevsky had been investigated for corruption. Fact, in September 2015.
No, this guy, let's see what's going on with this guy.
specifically mentioned Burisma.
We're gonna harken back real quick to a comment Point Fire had put on that I think is fucking hilarious.
A son of the vice president of these United States, $1 million a year to serve on their board. Fact, December 2015, Joe Biden visits Ukraine, demands Viktor Shokin, the prosecutor general of Ukraine, who's investigating Burisma, his son's boss, be fired. Fact, February 2nd, 2016, Kyiv Post reports Viktor Shokin won a court order to seize assets of Burisma CEO Mykola Zlochevsky. 2 weeks later, fact, Shokin resigns. President Poroshenko called on him to resign. He resigned. He essentially was fired at the behest of Joe Biden. Fact, 2016, February, 2 weeks later, there's a little email sent from Vadim Pozarsky, COO of Burisma. He's an executive of Burisma, and to Hunter Biden, asking him, hey, Hunter, will you help us out? We want to get the embassy in the U.S. embassy in Ukraine to
buy an annual membership and get a second year absolutely.
Shut the fuck up. All right, here we go.
Now, the ambassador just said they were corrupt a few months prior to that. And then, lo and behold, with the seal of the United States Embassy, they say that we have no negative information or feelings about Burisma. So what changed
No,
in those 6 months? It was mad.
Virginia and Yankee, I know y'all know each other now. Point Fire, do you know Virginia and Yankee? Or any kind of combination of knowledge of each other?
Not fired. And then Shokin is fired. The embassy says that Burisma is a great company. Our Democratic colleagues would have us believe, Mr. Chairman, that that was all magic, that there was no coincidence here. And with that, I yield the balance of my time to Mr. Jordan.
I appreciate the gentleman yielding. I was just going to point out that Jared.
I think we need to start doing shit like that whenever we are in panels, on some of these panels, and start, I yield the balance of my time.
The United States, what he said in his State of the Union regarding Israel, and how about what the Democrat leader of the Senate said last week, in that Israel should change its prime minister, for goodness sake. That to me is a concern. Jared Kushner was doing good work with the Abraham Accords. Of course, the Democrats don't want to admit that. I appreciate the gentleman for yielding.
Chair now recognizes.
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion. I would move pursuant to Clause 2K6 of Rule 11 that the committee issue a subpoena to Jared Kushner to compel testimony related to the $2 billion collected from Saudi Arabia after his service within the White House.
Second.
There's a motion, and for what purpose does the gentleman from Ohio seek recognition?
Move to table the motion.
There's a motion the motion to table is not debatable. As many as are in favor of tabling signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no.
No.
In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the motion to table is agreed to. The committee will now resume consideration of this hearing. Now, chair recognizes, is it Ms. Lee? Who's next?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's fair to say at this point that Republicans on this
The only badass
on Mr.
fucking
Bobolinsky
Canadian.
as their star witness. The only fact witness they have brought in person before this committee.
What a
So I think we all
gentleman.
expect that Mr. Bobolinsky would have extensive inside knowledge about the involvement they allege that President Biden and in Hunter's business ventures. As Mr. Parnas can vouch for, previous impeachment inquiries relied on whistleblowers and witnesses with intimate details of what went on, firsthand accounts of high crimes and misdemeanors. You could point to exactly what the allegations were and understand what was going on. There were laid out chains of events pointing to a named crime, lying under oath, obstruction of justice, abuse of power, incitement of insurrection. Yet we're left floundering here with zero direction and zero real evidence while we watch this kangaroo court struggle to continue on. And today we have Mr. Bobolinsky, whose biggest contribution is that he had, quote, multiple meetings with Joe Biden. But let's be clear. He spoke with Joe Biden a grand total of.
Okay, we'll let her. I'm not clearing if she's a dumbass bitch or not. Y'all smoking? Y'all smoking any bud? Or y'all smoking?
I think we also need to clarify that while Mr. Bobolinsky is all of a sudden claiming that they talked business, but at no point did he mention this during his deposition under oath with this committee. At 2 different points, when asked about what was said in these conversations, Mr. Bobulinski's account made clear that he had 0 substantive business discussions with Mr. Joe Biden. Mr. Bobulinski described those conversations twice during his transcribed interview, and both times he provided the same accounts. I'll read from the transcript of your interview, Mr. Bobulinski. You stated that you and Joe Biden discussed your, quote, family background in detail, as well as the Biden family's background and Joe Biden's, quote, appreciation for the military, pages 48 through 52 and 268 of 2 to 271 of
This
the
bitch,
transcript had these accounts.
this bitch
Based
right
on
here, I'm
your
not
own
sure.
account, you had 0 discussion of CEFC, the Chinese energy company. 0 discussion on shares of equities or capitalization of this failed business venture. Based on your own account, you simply exchanged pleasantries about your families and shared values, the kind of small talk any person would make if they had the opportunity to meet the former vice president of the United States, and moved on. Yet today, when my Republican colleagues are so desperate for actual evidence, magically that story changes. And that's really at the heart of everything we're discussing today. Mr. Bobulinski has also been pushing his texts as records as proof, yet the Wall Street Journal found that none of it showed any role for Joe Biden and Sinahawk Holdings, and even Fox News reported that there was 0 evidence of business dealings involving Joe Biden. Mr. Bobulinski would have us believe that everyone is a liar except him, and except for when he's under oath. That everyone misremembers except for him and except for when he's under oath. The FBI, the Wall Street Journal, his business associations, all liars. Republicans in this committee and the culture warriors of Fox News keeps saying, look at the documents, look at the documents. So let's look. This purported investigation has received over 100,000 pages of documents, and not a single one shows any evidence of any wrongdoing, much less an impeachable offense. And taking a step back, even if Joe Biden had discussed his son's business ventures with Tony Bobulinski in
I ain't
2017,
eating no
and this is
picking my
rhetorical,
nose, but I'm
so
not
what?
eating my booger.
What would be the high crime of misdemeanor? What would be the impeachable offense? We're talking about what private citizen Hunter Biden was doing with his time at the time, private citizen dad. This impeachment inquiry is not about facts or evidence. It's not even about impeachable offenses. It's about keeping the American people distracted while we do nothing on reducing gun violence, nothing on lowering healthcare costs, nothing on reforming our criminal legal system. This has been the least productive Congress in decades. We're just now.
And you are one of the most stupid, ugly bitches I've ever heard and seen. God dang.
I yield with that, and I yield the remainder of my time to Representative Crockett.
Yes, I just want to make sure that I point out, and this is not a question, just in case you wanted to know, that on page 174 of your transcribed interview, line 9, it says, this is an absolute lie, in reference to talking about the FBI. What you stated.
I did not call the
what
FBI
was stated
agents
right
liars.
before that was,
I
first
said
of all,
they
I
misstated
said that I'm
or made
speaking, and I did not
mistakes.
ask you a question. First of all, it doesn't say
Ooh.
Tony Bobulinski.
Ooh. She's like a fucking mean motherfucker. She said, first of all, I did not ask you a question. She wanted to be like, no, shut your fucking cracker ass up.
As Bobulinski first met in person with members of the Biden family at a 2017 meeting in Miami, Florida. This is an absolute lie. That is what it says. The final thing that I'm going to say is about this. What we have from Kim Buck, a Republican. I don't think that the impeachment of Biden is appropriate, and so House Speaker Mike Johnson's ability to talk me into staying here is going to be about as successful as his ability about talking me into an unconstitutional impeachment.
I'll let her have 30 seconds over. Chair now recognizes Mr. Burchett from Tennessee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On July 30th, 2017, Hunter Biden wrote to his Chinese business associate, Raymond Zhao, I'm sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Mr. Bobulinski, why did Raymond Zhao work for the, who did Raymond Zhao work for when this message was sent?
Raymond Zhao worked for Director Zhang at CFC.
Is CEFC connected to the Chinese Communist Party?
It is.
Is CEFC a corrupt organization?
It was.
From your perspective, what had occurred with CEFC from the end of May to this July 30th text message?
Well, it's tough to go through all these details in 20-second clips, but at the end of July, it's important to note Jim Biden was broke. Hunter Biden was broke. Published by the brave whistleblower Shapley and Ziegler, and Hunter made the conscious decision to basically defraud the partners of Sinohawk Holdings and Oneida because he needed money immediately. They've published pages of text messages where he's trying to get money into his bank account. And so that night, for whatever reason, on the 30th, when he asked why hasn't the commitment been fulfilled, the commitment he's talking about is actually the $10 million funding into Sinohawk Holdings, LLC. Really key point. But the next day, he decides that he's going to defraud Sinohawk Holdings and Oneida, create a new entity called Hudson West 3. Well, actually, change Hudson West 3. It had already previously been created by the Chinese, and make himself a 50% owner in that entity. So when the Chinese did send money, he would have instant access to it. Really important, backed up with tens of pages of communications. He wanted to get access to the money the second it came in. And in Sinohawk Holdings and Oneida Holdings, he did not have that power. I just want to address one thing real quick. Hunter Biden represents, he's a governance expert. That's why Burisma put him on the board. Well, he obviously can't do basic math. The board of Oneida Holdings had 7 votes. Each one of them, Hunter, Jim Biden, James Gillian, and Rob Walker, had a single vote. I had 3 votes. I have a master's degree in electrical and nuclear engineering. I think I can do math. I had 3, they had 4. They controlled Oneida Holdings. So Hunter Biden's representations that I was trying to take the business from them or I didn't know is all a sham and a misrepresentation. He wanted money in his account instantly, and that's why he shook down the Chinese, and they were willing to send him that $5 million because they viewed it as a bribe to the Biden family. They say it in their own communications.
Are you aware or not that they pay taxes on any of that?
I can only go from public testimony. I was not involved in their taxes.
Okay. On July 31st, the next day, Hunter says he hopes Kevin should know that the plan to speak is highly confidential. And Raymond Zhao responded, CEFC is willing to cooperate with the family, and the priority is to solve the problems mentioned last night. What family was Raymond Zhao talking about? Was it
the family was a Biden family, and more importantly in that text is what he's talking about is the confidential matter. The confidential matter he's talking about were 4 sealed indictments in the SDNY where they were about to indict executives of CEFC that we now know. I didn't know that in July of 2017, but the SDNY knew. Charles McGonigal, who's now apparently going to serve 78 months in prison, ran counterintelligence for the FBI in New York City, where Chairman Yee was dropping $50 million of cash for penthouses in Manhattan. So who you should be asking all these questions are the Department of Justice, the SDNY, the FBI, because they have troves of evidence that back up what was going on in July 2017 and in August 2017. So I apologize, Congressman, to be so passionate and to take your time, but this is what I need you guys, or the focus has to be of your oversight committee. This involved the Chinese Communist Party. They were doing a transaction with Rosneft, which was a Russian-sanctioned U.S. sanctioned company at the time, and the Biden family was right front and center in the middle of it.
Thank you. I'll switch gears for a second. I wish Hunter Biden were here because I'd like to ask him about his taxes. I want to know if he paid his fair share, just like his dad's asked Americans.
Not just his taxes. I'd like to know about the age of the prostitutes he smoked crack with and had sex with as well.
Is your concealed carry firearm rattling around in your vehicle's center?
Let's check out this commercial.
We can help. Introducing the We the People Holsters IWB holster mount. This thing is quite literally the best thing since sliced bread. Let us explain. Designed with everyday carry in mind, this thing is made to be mounted to literally any surface. Simply select your mounting surface, then choose from the included mounting hardware or the adhesive strips to mount it. Slap it together, and once it's mounted, click in your holster and you are all set. The patent-pending Speed Lock retention system not only makes releasing your holster a breeze, but also ensures proper retention with all of the We the People Holsters IWB clips, so that way your holster doesn't slip. All it takes is just a single motion to release your holster when you need it most. Plus, like all the rest of our products, this one is going to come with a lifetime guarantee. You guys can get your IWB holster mount at WeThePeopleHolsters.com.
you believe Chairman Comer has proven that he committed a high crime and misdemeanor.
No, because I know that he committed high crimes and misdemeanors.
Okay.
I was involved and saw them happen.
Right, but obviously, with all the evidence, you must believe that all of these hearings for 15 months, that the chairman has proven that, right?
You re-asked the question?
Sure. I'll sum it up. I assume you believe should be impeached, but my point is that the chairman has not yet moved for that. And so, look, Chairman, we got like 3.5 minutes here. I mean, let's just do the impeachment. I mean, why continue to waste millions of dollars of the taxpayers' money if we're going to impeach because you believe you've shown he's committed a high crime and misdemeanor? What are you waiting on? Let's just do it. I mean, by the way, we got Chairman Jordan here also, the double chairman. Why aren't you guys calling for the vote in your committee? When is it going to happen? When can we tell the American people you're going to stop wasting their money and just call for the vote on impeachment?
Gentlemen,
I mean,
yield? Gentlemen, yield?
Sure.
We don't do snap impeachments like you guys. We actually do the facts. We do oversight
So
according to the
you're
Constitution.
never going to call for it. You're never going to call for it. I mean,
Now you can
2
predict.
months.
You can predict the future. How do you know?
You guys only have 6 more months probably in power, right, until the election. So are you going to do it in 2 months? You're going to do it in 3 months? Like, tell the American people.
Does
can
the
we get a date?
Constitution put a time limit on oversight?
So
I don't think I didn't read that in the
So that means,
Constitution.
if you believe can't call for the impeachment now, then what you're admitting is you haven't yet proven that he's committed a high crime and misdemeanor. You haven't proven it yet. Otherwise, you would call for it, I assume.
We're doing our work. We're
Okay,
doing our
so
investigation.
they haven't proven it, right? They haven't proven he committed a high crime and misdemeanor. Otherwise, we would call for impeachment. So I just, look, the chairman knows me well. I mean, I'm just here to help him, right? And so I just think we should do it today. Let's just call for it. I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman. I want to help you out. You can second it, right? Like, make the motion to impeach President Biden. Go ahead. It's your turn. You second it. No, nothing. Okay, we got nothing. So I want to, with my last couple minutes, show the American people that they're never going to impeach Joe Biden. It's never going to happen because they don't have the evidence. Okay, this is a show. It's all fake. They just want to do these hearings. It's not leading to impeachment. They're lying to their base on Newsmax and Fox, leading these people to believe that they're going to eventually impeach the president. It's not going to happen at all, ever. Period. They don't even have the votes, even if they had it in committee. They don't have the votes on the floor. They know that. They got members resigning rather than taking a vote on the fake faux impeachment. Just ask Ken Buck, who said the speaker ain't going to get me to take an unconstitutional impeachment vote. I mean, boy. I mean, so look, I mean, if these hearings were a success, right? If what we've been doing for the last 15 months had convinced the American people that Joe Biden committed a high crime and misdemeanor, you can be damn sure they would have called the vote by now, right? But they want it to go on. They either want it to go on because they don't have the evidence.
Are you asking me a question?
No, I'm just looking at you.
Oh, okay.
But if you want to talk to me, we can talk.
Well, no, I think you haven't read recent data that shows the American people are well aware of the Biden's corruption.
Perfect. So then ask the chairman why he hasn't called for impeachment, Tony. He's right here. Ask Comer. Hey, Comer, how come you haven't called for impeachment? I'll do it. Watch. Hi, I'm Tony. Hey, chairman, how come you haven't called for impeachment? When are we going to have the hearing? When is the vote going to happen? I mean, you believe it. He believes it. He says it every day on TV. I just don't know when we're going to have the vote. I mean, let's just go.
Are you asking me to hold the vote?
Save, no, I just like looking at you. Yeah. We can save the taxpayers millions of dollars. So, I mean, look, I used all of my time to show that this vote is never going to happen because they have no evidence on Joe Biden. I yield back.
Gentlemen's time's expired. Chair now recognizes Mr. Burleson from Missouri for 5 minutes. Switch backs. Restart the clock.
Fuck, does militant roots have so many points?
We'll get
How do I give points?
Do you want to go to that one?
Apologies. All right, we good?
Now we are.
All right. I want to start.
Galanis. Mr. Galanis, you've heard the expression, say it, forget it, write it, regret it. Have you heard that expression? Mr. Galanis?
Yes, I'm here. Congressman?
Have you heard the expression, say it, forget it, write it, regret it?
Yes, I have. It was a practice that we used in our business.
In whose business?
Business with Hunter Biden and Devin Archer.
Okay, so is their expression.
Is there a way for
Let
me
ask
to
you a
give
question.
point?
Who is Harris Youssef?
Is there a way for me to give point?
Harris Youssef is a Ukrainian investor originally from Syria, a longtime colleague of Dmitry Firtash.
So he's a colleague of Dmitry Firtash. He was mentioned earlier this hearing. Who is Dmitry Firtash?
He's a Ukrainian oligarch very close to the Kremlin that made his fortune primarily in trading gas from Gazprom, the Russian state oil and gas company.
So connected to Vladimir Putin, correct?
Very much so, yes.
Yeah, in fact, during Hunter Biden's deposition with the committee, he justified his role. This is, I think you'll find this comical. He justified his role on the Ukrainian Burisma board by saying, in essence, that it was his patriotic duty, that he was serving, freedom, because there were, this is his quote, there were two gas companies inside Ukraine at the time. One of them was a state-owned, which was highly corrupt and connected to people like Firtash, which was directly going into Vladimir Putin's pocket. The only independent company was Burisma, end quote. Now, my question to you, based on this, he's disparaging Mr. Firtash, and yet, are you aware that that Mr. Biden, Hunter Biden, did business with Mr. Firtash?
Yes, I have.
So let me ask you, what kind of financial transactions occurred between them?
What Harris Youssef described to me, and then I was also described to me by others, including Devin and Hunter, was a $5 million payment that was made by Dmitry Firtash, is handled by Harris Youssef through Hunter Biden's law firm. That was deemed a success fee in order to quash an outstanding indictment for which in the United States.
So a Putin-connected Russian oligarch wired over $5 million to Hunter Biden's law firm for what activity? What was Hunter supposed to do for that $5.5 million?
He was supposed to perform in quashing the indictment that resulted in an arrest warrant for Dmitry Firtash, who is
being charged in the United States. Yeah, being charged in the United States in Indiana. So he's supposed to quash that, use his political influence to do so. So my question is, of that money, the $5 million, $3 million made its way to a company that you set up with Devin Archer called Bloom. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And finally, from that $3 million, there was a transfer that was
Check
made,
y'all's
and I've
points
got
out
a
now.
copy of that, the bank record to prove that, of $275,000. Do you recall that transfer?
I do.
And it went to which account?
Rosemont Seneca Bohai.
Rosemont Seneca Bohai. So despite
Correct.
what Hunter said during his deposition, based on your knowledge, was Hunter Biden connected to Rosemont Seneca Bohai? Was he part owner?
Very much so, and he said as much and had direction and control, and it was a beneficiary of the account. So there are emails that document he directed monies to be dispersed from that account, including to himself.
Now, it sounds like, despite what he's
Can't
saying,
find you on their point.
that what he told the committee, that this guy was a bad hombre, basically, that this Firtash guy connected to Putin, and therefore he had to get on Ukraine. And yet he had no problem doing business for this corrupt Russian oligarch connected to Putin. In fact, had no problem taking $5 million and a direct transfer of $275,000. Would you agree?
I agree with that, yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Bobulinski, and I've got just a little bit of time left. Sorry, very little time. So I want to ask you, for God's sake, Hunter Biden is doing all of these transactions, doing all of this business, and yet his father is vice president. And we're to believe that his father isn't aware of all of these he's been on the phone calls, he's been in the meeting, and yet he's not aware that his son is doing business with people connected to Vladimir Putin? Are we to believe that?
It's an absurd expectation.
Thank you. My time has expired.
Very good. Chair now recognizes Mr. Frost for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The claims made against the President of the United States have been so completely proven to be lies that even House Republicans now are admitting that it's time to close this case. Mr. Parnas, I have a few questions for you in limited time, so I really want to try to get through these. And I just want everybody to know, especially people watching at home, that you're like one of the most credible witnesses that we've had throughout this entire impeachment inquiry. First off, I just want folks to know, for people who aren't familiar, can you tell me who you were working for between 2018 and 2019?
Rudy Giuliani and Donald J. Trump.
And to be clear, you answered to Rudy Giuliani?
Yes.
You answered to Donald Trump?
Yes.
Directly?
Directly to Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah. When former President Trump and Rudy Giuliani flew you to Ukraine to look for corruption on the part of President Biden, did you find any?
No.
And following your Ukraine trip, Senate Republicans, Senator Grassley and Johnson, released their Burisma report, which the New York Times concluded was, quote, unproven allegations that echo an active Russian disinformation campaign, end quote. Mr. Parnas, are the unproven allegations that are at the heart of the Republican report the same fabricated claims that Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani sent you to Ukraine to go dig up?
Yes.
Last summer, you wrote a letter to Congress noting that when the media started to get tired of the smoke screens and using this, one of the authors of the Republican Burisma report would be your, quote, guy in the Senate to push all the information, end quote. What did you mean by that?
Senator Ron Johnson was our guy in the Senate. He told me that when we push the information, he's going to push it in the halls of Congress.
So when the media was getting skeptical about pushing disinformation after they've proven it wrong time and time again, the plan was to have a U.S. Senator, Ron Johnson, to push that disinformation even further.
Correct, because we had Congressman Nunes already doing it, so Senator Ron Johnson jumped on board.
This Congress, both Chairman Comer and Chairman Jordan, have centered this entire sham impeachment hearing on an FBI tip sheet. This tip sheet made wild claims about bribery that didn't even come close to being backed up. And in fact, it's all being proved to be one big lie. Mr. Parnas, is the allegation in the FBI tip sheet based on the same fabricated claims that Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani flew you to Ukraine to dig up?
Yes.
I also want to make it clear that the informant allegedly behind this tip sheet is facing criminal charges for lying about the Biden family and was a known fraud for years before that. The same fabricated claim kept popping up and getting smacked down over and over again. In fact, our colleagues at the Foreign Affairs Committee did some amazing work on this an investigation and found that this lie dates back to December 2015, almost 10 years ago. Do you happen to know the article that I'm referring to?
I don't know the exact article, but I do know that the slide has started way back in 2015.
Started about 10 years ago. It was an article entitled, quote, The Ukrainian Scam of the Biden Family, end quote. And it was posted to a Russian language media website registered in a city in Russian-occupied Crimea. Mr. Parnas, do you have any doubt that this fabrication claim, the claim that Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani sent you to Ukraine to try to dig up more information on, is part of Russian propaganda and an effort to destabilize Ukraine and undermine our democracy?
As I said here today, I have zero doubt that Russia's involved. This is a Russian campaign to interfere in our elections.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it from someone with firsthand experience. Look, to recap, there's no evidence that support allegations that President Biden engaged in corruption in Ukraine. We know this. Mr. Parnas himself has made it clear that we have no doubt, we should have no doubt that the claims of corruption are lies and conspiracy theories rooted in a Russian effort to undermine our democracy, posted to a Russian language website over a decade ago. This is exactly what Putin wants. And over the years, Republicans have kept moving the goalpost. You just look at the past year, right? First, it was a bribe. Then it was Burisma, nothing. Then it was Hunter Biden's laptop, nothing but some like nude pics that we keep seeing here. Then it was supposed money laundering scheme that turned out to be a family member making a couple of car payments. And now Republicans on this committee have left the pretense of a crime behind and are moving the goalpost to influence peddling. which sounds more like what former President Donald Trump did in his time in office. Look, we've been laughing a lot about this, calling it theater and a sham, which it is. But I also want to bring up that this is really serious. I mean, we have members of Congress and this committee using Russian propaganda meant to undermine our democracy, to undermine our president. It's not just theater or laughable, but it's a betrayal of our democracy.
It was very serious, Congressman.
Yes.
Chair,
Yeah, yield back.
time's expired. Chair recognizes Ms. Boebert from Colorado for 5 minutes.
Well, Hunter asked for a public hearing. Here we are, and he is nowhere to be found. I guess Biden really does run in the Biden family. Now, Mr. Bobulinski, in your testimony, you state it is clear to me that Joe Biden was the brand being sold by the Biden family. In your experience, what is the value to Joe Biden in helping his family collect millions from foreign adversaries?
What's the value to Joe Biden specifically?
Yes.
Well, his children and brothers were enriched, which to AOC's questions earlier violate corruption statutes, RICO statutes, FCPA statutes, FARA statutes.
Yes, so you would agree that the Biden family was involved in this corruption and influence peddling and selling access to the federal government?
I do.
Mr. Bobulinski, in your experience, did President Biden play a more active or passive role in his son Hunter Biden's business dealings?
I quantified it previously as he was he acted sort of like a chairman. He showed up and shook hands.
He's been called the chairman.
Yeah, he showed up, shook hands, and that's all the Chinese, Ukrainians, Romanians, Russians, whoever was need. It's not what the Canadians, the Australians, and Americans need, but in those parts of the world, that's what they need.
Thank you. And now I'm going to switch over to Mr. Galanis. During his 2020 presidential campaign, then candidate for president Joe Biden
Wiz
said his son did not make
what up,
money from China.
brother?
Did Joe Biden lie?
Playa pimpin'.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Galanis, you are
Just
aware of
watching
the
this live
BHR fund that consisted of Bohai, a
impeachment
Chinese
shit.
state-backed company,
I'm not
Harvest,
super
a
political,
China
but
company, and
this is
Rosemont,
funny.
the Biden entity, correct?
Yes, I am.
And Mr. Galanis, you're aware that Hunter Biden formerly held 10%
Give Wiz
of
and
that
TG
Chinese
some damn
entity, and would it surprise you if you were
points.
aware that Hunter Biden held 10%
And
of
y'all
this
go
entity
subscribe to his
well
channel
into his
too.
father's presidency?
You know, I'm aware that it was founded as a business that he owned 50% of 20% or 10% directly from the outset, from early on in 2014.
And would it surprise you, Kevin Morris, Hunter Biden's fake attorney, has testified that he now holds that interest?
I don't have any knowledge about that, so not much of this would surprise me.
Mr. Bobulinski, in your testimony, you stated the Chinese Communist Party through
Post it and I'll share it. See, I've been working on a black and blue artifact deck. So, like kind of built around Tezzeret
office.
Master
Would
of
you
Metal.
agree that the CC to our nation's national security?
I do.
Thank you. And now Joe Biden has leveraged his elected position to enable the Biden family, their business associates, and their companies to receive over $24 million from foreign
Oh, she
nationals
seems chill.
and their companies and their related companies. Biden is
You post that
compromised
video, I'll
and
watch
is
it
a
and I'll
threat
share
to
it.
our national security. After
Like
today,
I
it's
said.
clear that Joe Biden is a bigger CCP
Arena.
asset than Fang Fang herself will a threat to our national security. After today, it's clear that Joe Biden is a bigger CCP asset than Fang Fang herself. Will we ever come to the agreement that it is far time that Congress holds the resident of the White House accountable for selling out the American people? Unfortunately, my colleagues to my left have a highly coveted made in China product, a brand, if you will, and that is Joseph R. Biden. Mr. Chairman, I yield the remainder of my balance to my friend from Florida, Matt Gaetz.
Mr. Parnas, how much time did you spend in prison? 4 months. But
4 months.
But you were indicted for crimes that could have resulted in you spending 50 years in prison, right?
Right, they were false crimes. The judge saw through it.
Well, you went to trial and you were convicted, right?
I went to trial, correct.
And the crime was that you were trying to acquire marijuana licenses, and you took money from a Russian oligarch, and you tried to use that money to go give political donations and do what you had to do to acquire marijuana licenses. Is that about right?
That's what the crime was. That's what the indictment was. Yeah.
Right. So it sounds like everyone here today, the only one working for a Russian oligarch was you.
What?
Right? I mean,
Yeah, it was.
I just heard you
I
wax.
did it.
I
It's
heard
public,
Garrett.
it's public information.
Yeah, no, I just heard
Congressman
you wax
Gates,
poetic.
I got
with
paid
Mr.
$200,000.
Cross.
You know how much
you
I
were
got
really
paid.
worried about our democracy, and
There's so many fucking cool people in here popping in. Garrett, you got Virginia, fucking Point Fire, got the Real Wiz MTG, got Yankee Watchdog. We have Streamlabs and Nightbot. Fuck yeah.
instead of spending 50 years in prison, you got 4 months. As this hearing continues, I look forward to hearing what Mr. Galanis thinks about how he was treated by the DOJ for telling the truth, as opposed to how you're treated for lying.
The DOJ didn't listen to the truth, because if they would listen to
The
the
question,
truth, you
the
guys
question
would've been all
Mr.
in
Gates
jail.
had is
They didn't
for
wanna hear the
Mr.
truth.
I was not suspecting Matt Gates
Well, the truth for you is taking money from Russia
to pop in.
and go into jail and then coming here to lie about Trump.
You should know better than anybody.
Gentlemen's time has
DOJ is
expired.
about.
Chair
You
now,
should know better than anybody.
gentlemen's time's expired. Chair now recognizes Ms. Tlaib from Michigan.
Thank you so much. It's so exhausting. This is really incredibly exhausting, and I can't imagine our residents sitting at home. I still, every time I look up and I see our former chairman, forever chairman, Elijah Cummings, our first ever hearing in this room was about the high cost of insulin. I think one of the first witness was a mother of twins who had to ration her insulin and lost a child because she couldn't afford it. I still remember our previous
This bitch is ugly.
really did a phenomenal job continuing to talk about the opiate crisis and how the Sadler family was part of a criminal scheme to increase addiction
Yes,
among
sir.
family members. People just literally losing their family members because of profit, because of folks that were literally drug dealers in suits. All of that to say is this House Oversight Committee, from our committee hearings on the Postal Service.
Become the master of the air, the thunder of the seas, or a tank fury in the epic multiplayer action game War Thunder.
Which really matters to our constituents, the high cost of prescription drugs, the housing issues, the number of struggles and challenges of everyday Americans. And I say this sincerely. I know you all, but sincerely, because what a waste of time. What a waste of time. Just even some of the colleagues of my folks here continue to say this is a waste of time. I mean, Troy, Representative Niels said, I don't think we have the will to impeach Joe Biden. Just for the record, impeachment isn't something you have a will to do. It's something you have to have evidence to do. Which brings me to next, you heard about Rep. Don Bacon, who said, when the staff tells you that they can't identify a particular crime, there's a problem. That's a problem. I mean, you can go on and on. One top Republicans admit that there's no conclusive evidence of impeachable offense that shows Biden acted improperly while in office to enrich his family members. I mean, it goes on and on. Former oversight chair Darrell Issa, who serves on Judiciary Committee now, said, I think he goes on and says, there's no clear sense of where the impeachment inquiry is going. It goes on and on. I mean, look, you all, this is an incredibly important committee. We could be doing some phenomenal things and holding currently the Biden administration a number of issues. Like, I want to know about the American Rescue dollars and where that money is being used. Is it being used towards public health? Is it being used towards the crisis that continues to happen in many of our families being impacted by long COVID symptoms? I mean, these are things that we could be doing right now in this chamber. We're not. We're doing this over and over again, and it's a waste of time. I literally, every time I talk to my constituents about this, they don't bring this up. They said, God, when is this going to be over with? I tell them, my colleagues do not know how to lead the campaigning at the steps of the Capitol. When we come in here, we have to literally put that aside and work for our constituents, work on getting some sort of understanding where we can prioritize making sure that we have access to clean water. What is going on with the lead abatement program within the administration, talking about the specific challenges that we continue to see in our healthcare system, all of that. Again, we can hold the Biden administration together, Mr. Chairman, on a number of issues we can see eye to eye on, and saying we need to use this committee to open it up, to be the watchdog committee that we are. Instead, we really sincerely are wasting the time of the American people doing this. This is awful. For them to see us going back and forth like this, it's so disenchanting for them. And you all wonder why the numbers out there of favorability towards Congress is so low. They really have no faith in us because of this. This is the kind of stuff we do. When literally my folks are literally fighting for the right to breathe clean air and to fight to sit there and figure out how they're going to afford asthma inhalers. Yet we're here wasting the people's time.
Will the gentlelady yield?
Yes, Mr. Chair. And I say this out of somebody that's a social worker at heart. We could do so many things in bipartisan in this committee. I know it. And I think we're right now really missing out an opportunity to do that. We really are.
Ms. Tlaib,
I yield to Mr.
Well, it's for a question I just wanted to ask you, because you've had tremendous success in trying to clean up dirty water across America. We can actually get things done, right?
Absolutely. And, I know my colleague on the other side, we all have the crisis of the clean water crisis. We could literally bring in folks in the EPA, bring folks into this chamber right now and ask, where is the Biden administration on the development of their lead abatement initiative? These are the things that I think very much many of my mayors, my local electeds, many of the state folks are asking. What can we do as members of Congress to basically have more transparency in where the priorities are? But again, I really say this sincerely to all of you. We can do better. We deserve to do better. I remember Chairman Cummings constantly reminding us that we can be better.
Gentlelady's time's expired. Before I recognize Representative Fry, for what purpose does Representative McClain seek recognition?
I'd like to enter something in the record. My friends on the other side of the aisle are desperately trying to deflect from the Biden family peddling scheme by attacking President Trump and his family.
5 minutes?
I would like to enter into the record an article. Actually, Jared Kushner and Hunter Biden are nothing alike, and here are the facts. Thank you.
Without objection, so ordered. Chair now recognizes Representative Fry for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of the inconsistencies that I have kind of seen is what is on a text message, Mr. Bobulinski, with Raymond Zhao, and what Hunter Biden testified to in his own deposition. And so this is infamous. We've talked about this a lot. Z, please have the director call me, not James, not you or Jim. Have him call me tonight. I am sitting here with my father. We've talked about this a lot. We've kind of got ad nauseum to it. And in response, Raymond Zhao says, copy, I will call you on WhatsApp. So in Hunter Biden's testimony on page 105, he states that the Zhao that he sent this to was not the Zhao that was connected to CEFC. What do you say about that, Mr. Bobulinski?
Well, I think what he's simply saying is he made a mistake. Not that he meant to send that text message, because it's crystal clear that that message was meant for Raymond Zhao, who was the interpreter for Director Zhang at CFC. But I think he tried to obfuscate in his testimony that technically maybe he made a mistake and texted it to the wrong person. I can't speak to whether then he corrected that, but I do know based on the communications that he got on the phone with Raymond Zhao and set the record straight and exactly went through what he thought he was sending him in that message, because it's followed up where they say, they sort of snap to and say, we'll cooperate with the family. Why were they willing to cooperate with the family? Because effectively they were bribing the Biden family to get them to help them with the 4 unsealed indictments in the SDNY, which is the only thing that mattered to CFC.
And Raymond Zhao, you said he was an interpreter, but he was a little bit more than that too.
He was like a chief of staff interpreter.
Correct. So he was kind of the handler for the CEFC business.
Yeah, he spoke good English. Director Zhang spoke very little English.
Right. So to the extent that this was the wrong Zhao, I mean, I'm no rocket scientist, but if I get a text message and it's somebody that it's a different Russell, I'm going to say, you've got the wrong guy, correct?
Yeah, I believe Henry Zhao probably, his argument is he sent it to Henry Zhao. I'm assuming there's a text message somewhere where either Henry Zhao responded, hey, I think you meant that for somebody
Right.
else.
Instead, we just see copy that. I'll call you on WhatsApp, right? Right. So
Yeah.
if you were perplexed as to why you received a random text message that wasn't applied
Well,
to,
that's actually Raymond Zhao
right?
saying, I'll call you on
That's what I'm
WhatsApp."
saying.
Yeah.
So the purpose, the issue that he brings up though, is that he was confused and it was the wrong Zhao. I want to ask you a couple more questions real quick. Hunter Biden's transcript on page 42, he said, I officially began to work for CEFC when I received a retainer from CEFC in early or spring of 2017. Is that true?
Well, it goes back to the word official. He's parsing words. Hunter Biden started working for CFC in the fall of 2015 and worked for CFC throughout 2016. That was confirmed to me by him, by James Gilliar, by Rob Walker, numerous face-to-face conversations on it,
Right.
numerous
So this
meetings.
so this is not true. On page 48 of his transcript, Hunter is asked, he's never interacted with any of your business associates. Is that correct? The he's referring to is Joe Biden. Is that true?
That's a lie.
Hunter lied to the committee about important details concerning his money demands and threats to CEFC based on this WhatsApp message right here. On page 105 of his
We're getting this
testimony,
fixed up.
Hunter states, quote, my father
We're
had
about to
no
get you.
awareness,
We're
my
about to
father
get
had
you
no
set
awareness
up,
of the business I was doing. Is that true?
Garrett.
That's a lie.
I know these
He also
fucking
talked about how Jim Biden also lied
fuck these
extensively
guys
throughout his
talking
own
about.
testimony, and that Jim was selling plausible deniability for many years, so that he could not tell the truth from a lie. On page 100 of Jim Biden's transcript, Jim is asked, do you recall having a meeting with Hunter Biden and Tony Bobulinski and Joe Biden? Jim's response was absolutely not. Jim states that Joe Biden never met with Tony Bobulinski. Is that true?
That is a lie, and I'm shocked that his lawyer sitting next to him, a former U.S. attorney, allowed him to say that lie 3 different times in that transcribed interview.
Right. When pressed, he continued to double down on that.
He got excited. His lawyer had to calm him down, and he continued to lie about it.
On page 124 of the transcript, Jim Biden states, quote, it was Hunter Biden, myself, Gilliar. I don't know. It was the 5, okay? And everybody was 20%, okay? You know what? It was never executed. It was never signed. And he's referring, of course, to the contract or the agreement. Is that true?
That's a lie. He fully executed the legal document, Oneida Holdings LLC, as did Hunter, James Gilliar, Rob Walker, and myself.
Thank you for your testimony today.
Thank
you. Yours has been the consistent testimony throughout this process, unlike the other people who have come before this committee. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Very good. Chair now recognizes Ms. Presley from Massachusetts for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When Elijah Cummings was the chair of this committee, he often reminded us that our role was to be in efficient and effective pursuit of the truth. So I'm going to try to do exactly that because this farce has gone 15.
Okay, I was about to end it, but who are we gonna watch this bitch talk for 5 minutes?
Giuliani and Trump to dig up dirt on the Bidens and to spread misinformation about them through various networks, including government officials, journalists, and Fox News personnel, unquote. When that campaign failed to find dirt because, well, there was no dirt to be found, the former occupant of the White House demanded that Ukrainian political officials announce investigations into the Biden family in order to smear Joe Biden prior to the 2020 presidential election. Yes or no, Mr. Parnas, before Trump and Rudy Giuliani tasked you to try to find dirt on the Bidens in Ukraine, did you ever interact with Mr. Trump?
Before they asked me, yes, I've had many interactions.
Okay. And you wrote to the committee that in late 2018, you attended a holiday party at Trump's White House, as shown in this picture. Can you describe your interactions with Donald Trump during this party?
Yes, we came to the event. It was a Hanukkah party. Rudy Giuliani joined us. We were supposed to
Hanukkah party,
but at the last second, Rudy said to wait for him downstairs. He was going to go meet Trump himself and update him on everything that was going on. He went to meet Trump at the residence. We waited at the White House. Then eventually, when Trump came down to make a speech, Secret Service came up to us and said that the president wanted to wait for us at the Red Room. So we proceeded to the Red Room and waited for Trump to finish a speech. Then he came in, approached me, and basically shook my hand and said, Rudy tells me great things. Keep up the good work. Thank you. And then we proceeded to take pictures.
Mr. Parnas, when Trump told you to keep up the good work, what did you understand him to be referring to exactly?
Well, at that point, the conversation was about Ukraine and Giuliani wanting me to go find Victor Shokin. So that's what I took it as keep up the good work, go get Victor Shokin on our way to Ukraine.
And Mr. Parnas, after the party, did you interact with Trump again, or were you cut off from interacting with him?
After our trip to Ukraine, we were cut off because then the BLT team was formed and the line of communication started going through Rudy Giuliani because they didn't want anybody to notice me with him because I was in Ukraine doing the stuff.
I see. So is it fair to say, Mr. Parnas, that you think you were no longer invited to interact with Trump to create a buffer between President Trump and your work with Giuliani to generate evidence of Joe Biden's misconduct in Ukraine?
Oh, I was told that. Not that I wasn't invited. I was told that you're going to stop going to the events, to the private events and stuff like that because while you're doing this.
I see. So despite President Trump's efforts to insulate himself from associating with you as you sought evidence of Biden corruption in Ukraine, you maintained your contacts with individuals in Trump's innermost circle, including Donald Trump Jr., correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Well, as the saying goes, a leopard can't change their spots. And so, Mr. Parnas, you're a prime example of Donald Trump's habit of welcoming people into his inner circle and then creating distance or the appearance of it from them as he relies on them to commit improper acts. Now, Donald Trump has demanded that Joe Biden be impeached, has enlisted oversight Republicans to do his dirty work in an attempt to try to win the 2024 presidential election by promoting the same lies about President Biden, lies that are firmly rooted in Russia's disinformation and propaganda effort to influence U.S. elections and undermine Ukraine in the midst of a vicious Russian invasion. I yield to Mr. Goldman.
Thank you very much, Ms. Presley. I want to get back to this photograph here that I got cut off from before. You, Mr. Bobulinski, called a number of people liars, 6 FBI agents.
I did not call this.
Garrett is AI.
6
It's
FBI agents
confirmed.
liars.
I'm talking. If you go to page,
Well, you know better, Mr. Goldman.
Okay, go to page 174 of the transcript, and you said it's not an accurate statement. It's a lie related to an FBI report.
I didn't call them
Sorry,
liars.
I don't
The
have time.
statement
Be
is a lie.
quiet. Now, this is a photo that was provided by Cassidy Hutchinson after you called her a liar when she said that you met with Mark Meadows and received an envelope. Do you see this photo? Do you acknowledge that is Mark Meadows in the red hat?
Didn't you tell me to be quiet? I don't.
I asked the question. Do you acknowledge that that's Mark Meadows?
I don't. Maybe you're a person can walk it closer so I can see it.
Mr. Chairman, would you indulge, just since he's not answering the question?
You're 15 seconds over, but it may
well, let me just ask it very briefly. Is that you and Mr. Meadows buy Secret Service cars with you in a mask?
Are you kidding, Mr. Goldman? I'm sitting 20 feet away from it.
Go
It's
up to him, please. Go
All
right up to him.
and your time's expired.
Okay.
Maybe Mr. Swalwell will give you some time.
Could he just answer the question?
He can answer the question, right?
So what I see in this picture is a Secret Service agent 5 feet from me with a full mask on, and a Secret Service agent sitting in a Cadillac Escalade with all the windows up with a full mask on.
Is that
So you're
you
making it a
talking
big
to
deal.
the person in the red hat?
It's the back of his head. I don't.
Is that you talking to the
Why don't
person
you ask
in the
me
red
this,
hat?
Mr. Goldman? Did I meet Mr. Meadows at a Trump rally in
Answer
Rome,
the
Georgia? I
question.
did. I acknowledge that.
It you.
Mr.
Oh, you
Mr.
do?
Goldman.
I did.
Mr.
Of
Goldman,
course I did.
But Cassidy Hutchinson is a liar.
Cassidy Hutchinson's
Thank
a
you. I get
liar
that.
because
Time
she
is
said
expired.
that he handed me an envelope. Mr. Meadows didn't give me a single thing.
Now, Chair recognizes.
Glad we have the clear
No,
story.
your
Mr. Chairman.
time's expired. Maybe Mr. Swalwell will yield you some time. Chair now recognizes Mr. Langworthy from Buffalo for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Glad it's so quiet in here. On the first day of the Biden presidency, then Press Secretary Jen Psaki claimed that President Biden's objective and his commitment was to bring, quote, transparency and truth back to government, to share the truth even when it's hard to hear. That is obviously laughable, just about as laughable as when Hunter Biden claimed that he was trying to avoid wire fees when he had Rob Walker launder a $1 million payment from a Chinese company through 16 different bank wires to Hunter, Hallie, and Jim Biden's accounts. If you're trying to avoid wire fees, then why send 4 different wires over 3 months to
I'm
the same account?
actually about to play this. This is a new movie coming out soon. It's called Fly Me to the Moon. Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum.
Hey, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you, Yankee, for sticking through and helping watching out and shit, brother.
Miss, you're on fire.
Very original. No, I do not want to stop, drop, and roll with you.
No, your book is on fire.
Oh my God.
Alcohol and flames. They like each other. Cold days.
Kelly Jones.
Public support for the moon mission is rock bottom.
Every day, something is breaking. And we're dead. Again. Or blowing up.
The space program is a bloated mess.
NASA needs a marketing specialist, and you are the very best.
Excuse me? What are you doing here?
I tracked you down because I felt we had a connection.
What?
I'm joking. I work here now to sell the moon.
NASA's not something that you sell with a jingle and a slogan.
When I'm done, those men are going to be bigger than the Beatles.
Who is that?
For me, this is very personal.
He's got my name.
You told me that your guys don't do interviews, so I had to hire new guys.
I'm here for the casting. Who's he?
You're a juicy part.
60 missions in Korea. I flew 52 missions in Korea. I flew 52 missions in Korea. How's that? What?
The whole world will be watching. We can't afford to lose to the Russians. We need to shoot backup version of the moon landing.
You mean to fake it? No one can ever know what we're doing.
I cannot accept that.
They will shoot you.
What is my budget?
Oh, boy.
I know a lot more about the moon than I know about you. Give me go, no go for launch. If you fake this mission, every single thing that we have sacrificed will have been for nothing.
You know you couldn't have made it to this day without me.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And
My Armstrong is a whiny little bitch. We have to recast.
I think we should have gotten Kubrick.
Sorry about that. Anyway, so that's gonna be a major Hollywood film coming out, y'all. I guess all these conspiracy theorists been talking shit this whole time. You know, they just been speaking out of their asses, not knowing what they're talking about, huh? Yeah, that's not what happened. So keep an eye out for this movie called Fly Me to the Moon. Thank you guys. Garrett, Point Fire, Virginia Roots, Yankee Watchdog. Go ahead and check it out. I'm gonna be trying to go stream. I'm gonna try to stream as often as possible. I'm gonna keep putting shorts out. Thank you guys so much. We are growing, and it's awesome to see. Peace.